everybody. So far it says we're live, but as you guys know, it always takes me a minute to hear myself, as it's always delayed at least a little bit. Plus, I gotta manually go live on all the Facebook pages. Oh, all right. I guess Facebook is not gonna let me go live on all these places. All right, guys. All right, well, you came in an awkward spot, YouTube. I was talking about something else. I'm going to try to also get some of these Facebooks going live too. I guess with Facebook, they're really specific about how quickly they let you go live, but whatever's clever with that will end up going. So we'll just hang in there with me, everybody on YouTube, and then we'll go from there, guys. I'm almost there. I'm almost there, guys. We're just going to try to see if this works here real quick. So we are live on both of our YouTubes and our Twitch. If you guys didn't know, yes, we have a Twitch account, and that's all good. That's specifically good because, you know, Twitch is a thing out there. And although we don't have the pro version, so there's going to be no archives, anybody who happens to just pop in there, or if you're on Twitch a lot and you want to add us over there, that's great too, guys. But we're trying to figure this part out. I guess I'm going to play with that as we go, because it is important for me here to get at least my normal Facebook set up for this. I'm going to create a broadcast, guys, with all these new ones here. And hopefully I'll just jump these in. We'll see. All right.
Hi, everybody, by the way.
Kalina says hi. I don't know if you guys
Solstice.
can hear her. She's saying happy solstice. She'll be over here in a minute too, guys. This is why we're a little late. This is why things like this occur sometimes. We have the kids and we have technology, and we have a lot of other stuff.
Just went to sleep a few minutes ago.
Yeah, literally.
And then Jeremy fell asleep a few minutes before that.
Yep.
So they had a late night tonight for them.
Yeah, for them it was a late night, but we're good,
that
guys.
Solstice energy.
We're good. I'm gonna try to get this merged in with this recording. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if it'll work or not. If not, I'll just keep trying to edit at the main screen.
Did you send me an invite too?
No, but I will, Mom. I will. I'll do that too. Okay. Not a big deal. But I want to make sure we don't get kicked off of this one either. All right, to make sure that one's working. All right, so. All right, sorry guys. And like I said, I'm definitely not trying to have an issue here, but we do want to make sure we can get everything going on. All right, so we'll see if this works. We tried to merge them, so I had to create a new one. We'll see if that worked out too. Please let me know in the comments too, guys, if I end up dropping off of this specific live stream. Just let me know for any reason. It says I'm still live, so that's a good thing. All right, how are you guys doing? How is everybody doing out there? How are things going? How are people feeling and doing and all of those exciting things that are happening, guys? How are you guys doing? It's really been a nice year. A little crazy, but amazing. Man, we've got people from everywhere. We've got people saying hello from a little bit of everywhere. Right now, all of our YouTube people are here. All right, beautiful, guys. So we're going to check, make sure this other one's running all right, and see if that works out. Give me a second here too, guys, to pop on the Facebook and see if these ones are running, because I don't know if you can run two things at once, and if not, I definitely don't want to plug up the thing here. All right, it's looking like, oh, what do you know? It's working. All right.
Yay.
Looks like we're on every place, which is great, guys. So that's beautiful.
Let us know if you guys hear us.
Yeah, they can hear us. They're saying hello. Everybody's here. Everybody's good.
And then Rob, you gotta get me in the studio when I come back around.
Yeah.
I'm making coffee. So
it's easy. I just have to click 2 buttons and email you, Mama. So we'll get you there.
Sweet.
All right, guys, we're finally here. Sorry, guys, it's taken so long. I'm just gonna email Kalina this, and then I can give you all of my undivided attention. No more tech issues. No more jumping around. Obviously, I said I was going to be on camera, and I'm not on camera, and part of this is the reason. All of the stuff that we've got going on here, it would have taken an additional 30 or 40 minutes at least to get set up. We tried getting set up earlier today in the back room where all of our equipment is and where the cameras are, the lighting and all that stuff, and it wasn't working back there. So we figured it's probably better just to go ahead and do this. And the email I sent it to you, Mom, because it's an automated thing. It's from my my live email, so you might have to check your spam folder because I don't know if I've ever sent you anything from that email before. I think I have. Either way, I'm gonna take a breath, guys. Man, it's been a little stressful trying to get here on time, even though it's been.
For the 2021.
Yeah, it fits right into what we're doing, guys. So hello and welcome, guys. I'm gonna try. Unfortunately, I've got 2 different windows for everybody, so I'm gonna try to keep an eye on all the Facebook stuff. But I think most people are here on YouTube anyway. So here's what we're doing today, guys. First of all, welcome everyone to the Solstice Open Forum, the first open forum that we have had in a long time. We used to do the open forums all the time when we were Treb channeling, and then when we went to ET Whisper, we did them for the first 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. And after that, 2015 was a big turning point for myself, Kalina, for the ET Whisperer work, and part of that is because it was a personal issue too. All right. So everyone says they can hear me perfectly. Good. Yeah. All right. I just want, because I seen someone said sound, and then I read. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to distract myself. It's not that. So anyway, so we were Treb channeling, and then we changed to ET Whisper, and then the open forums died out. Part of that reason was because of my own personal experience with the loss of my father. We had just come back off of an extremely amazing high, the very first channel panel that we ever did live. Me and Kalina put it together. We had a venue in Los Angeles, the Holiday Inn. LAX was our venue. We rented it out. We created a stage. Kalina created this beautiful stage with lights. We had volunteers, and it was just an amazing thing. It's on YouTube for free. Most of you guys, I'm sure, have seen it. We had a bunch of channelers on a 2-day event, and we had camera crews there and live stream crews, and it was just the most amazing thing that Kalina and I had ever done together. Through being a father to my son and to learn how to channel, those were really the only 2 things in my life that I compared to the feeling I had at that moment. The connection of energy for that moment was so amazing. The woman that I love the most in the world and myself just created this beautiful thing that was so powerful and so beautiful. And it was life-changing. People were coming to us, crying on our shoulders, holding us, for half hours and just telling us how much this energy of all these amazing channelers, their guides, all these entities and consciousnesses in one place, just shifting everything in their experience. Their whole perspective changed, and our perspective changed. And the channelers who were there became dear friends of ours and became close to us and got to know us. And all of us had never been in one place with so many different beings channeling and bringing this amazing consciousness together and just doing this thing that had never been done before. And it was just phenomenal. And we got on the airplane and we went home and we were on cloud nine. We were in heaven. It was the greatest thing. You know, our chest was puffed out because we're like, man, we just did this amazing. We created this, you know. And then the day after we get home, my father goes back in the hospital. And mind you, he had gone to the hospital the day before we left, but it was a leg infection. He had one a few months before that. No big deal. You go to the hospital for a few days, you come out, no problem. So this time it was different. The doctor said, your kidneys are almost failing. Why haven't you been coming to us? You know, Don, that was my dad's name. What the hell were you thinking? You got to go on dialysis, Don. If not, you're not going to survive another month. And then shit got real, you know, like real. At this point, like my dad was already sick. He had been sick for a couple of years. So it was pretty obvious that he was getting worse. Congestive heart failure, bad kidneys, all these things. It was already bad, but it wasn't how it was. When we left for Los Angeles, my dad was still doing most of the things on his own. He had oxygen, but he was driving. He was able to do things. So it wasn't this really, you know, it wasn't much different or much worse. But when we got back, he could barely walk. He had to have assistance going from the couch to the bathroom, all these things drastically different. And within a month, they finally got him started with the whole kidney dialysis. And at this point, like it was hell getting him started with it. But at this point, the doctor was like, you know, Don, when I first met you 4 or 5 years ago, you were probably at the same level that you can be after you get dialysis, because he only had one kidney. So dialysis really was the only option for one failing kidney. And he says, we can get you to where you were. You have one kidney. We can get you to 25% functionality. You know, if this works, you know, if we can get this started properly, you know, it's going to be fine. You know, you'll be better. So after almost a month of trying, finally, they got the port on his arm hooked up. There wasn't infection. You know, he wasn't having any issue with the heart issue, which would make it worse or not doable. And finally, he went in for a second or third treatment ever. I think it was his third or fourth, actually. And he said, Rob, you guys have been doing everything for me, you know. I was the only one strong enough to lift him. He said, go home and do your work. You're getting behind with people that you're channeling for. You know, you and Kalina have got so much stuff to catch up on from being gone for all this time and helping us. Just go home, do your work, come back. I'll be here, you know, 3 hours, come pick me up. No problem. Are you sure, Dad? Yeah, no problem. I said, all right. It was kind of relief, you know. It's like, all right, well, he looks like he's doing better, you know. And at that time, I get a phone call about an hour into the dialysis treatment. We just got home. We had a new puppy. We had just gotten after we got back, Thuban. And at that time, it was the dialysis place, and they said, you've got to go to the Three Rivers Emergency Room Hospital. We have an ambulance taking your father there. They were going to fly him to Kalamazoo. His heart stopped beating for almost 10 minutes. And I was like, what in the hell is going on here? You know, I knew that something bad had happened. It didn't quite register. It didn't make sense yet because it was so shocking. And I get to the hospital, and there's the ambulance taking my dad out. while there's two people doing CPR on him, like chest compressions and breathing the bag in his mouth. And I was like, oh my God, this is real serious, real bad. They said, do we keep working on him or not? And I said, yeah, of course you keep fucking working on him. Do it, guys. Make sure, you don't stop. He'll die. And so they kept working on him, and then they shipped him over to Kalamazoo. And when he got there, they finally had put him on a ventilator, and they basically said, the loss of oxygen was devastating to his brain. He lost all the blood vessels in his brain. All of them popped, ruptured, and, not a good thing. He probably wouldn't make it if we took off this breathing for him. And it's weird. Like, my dad understood something for a long time. It's like in his soul plan, I think, almost, to die this way. Because as a child, he always said, I would never want to be on life support. If they ever hook me up to a machine, you guys do not let me stay on a machine and live like that. And it's like he said it all the time. I mean, I didn't just hear this once or twice as a child. I heard this anytime a story on the news came up about somebody's long care health or being in a coma is oddly weird. How much you would say, make sure, guys, don't do this. If that happens to me, you do not let that fly. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, at that point, we ended up just saying, they said, do you want him on this? He has a very low chance of recovery. There's a good chance, he'll never make it through, la, 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 la. And I'm like, no, Mom, Dad wouldn't want this. My mom's like, no. Of course he wouldn't. All of us talked, and then he passed. This intensive time of my life followed by the best time. Like, my dad wasn't just my dad. A lot of people don't have a dad, and I've always felt so bad for them. And then on the other hand, I've seen fathers choose not to be around their kid. Even people in our community, spiritual channelers, have had children and then would use that mindset, like, well, my channeling is more important than my kid. I'm like, who could think like that? Who could think that what they have is more than what they have here? So I try not to always go into how great my dad was, because I know that's very painful for others, but he was an amazing man. He was my best friend. He was my teacher. He was this human being who taught us all how to love more. As stern as my dad was, a stranger would walk up to my dad and be petrified of my dad. He was a big, imposing man. He wore a beard, like a grizzly guy up in the middle of the mountains. He was a large man, 6 foot tall, well over 250 pounds, probably closer to 260 to 280. Even when he was slim, he was just a big guy. And all of the people who ever met him were petrified of him at first until they got to know him. But this amazingly open-hearted, loving, family-centric human taught us all about love. My mom came from a very scarred family. Family trauma had engulfed my mom's whole family. Deep-seated stuff, a lot of mental illness, which in my opinion wasn't really mental illness. It was just devastated souls with horrible trauma. And he met my mom at this age where she met him and just finally found what it was like to be loved by another human, how she should have been loved, how she deserved to be loved. My dad did that, and my dad taught us kids that. Just the most amazing human being. He taught us everything about everything, and he was just I always say, if I could replicate my dad's fathering to my own kids, if I could do half of what he did, I would consider myself a successful parent. And his passing was devastating to my soul. There's still trauma there. I still hurt. This is one of the first times I've been able to talk about it publicly without losing my shit. Because it's been a while now, finally. So this trauma messed me up. It took me out of my center. It took me off my game. It broke my heart. And it really messed me up for at least a couple of years. And then other traumas came into my life because those traumas were feeding into other traumas. Plus secular life. We're all on an earth vibrational plane, and that means we have good and we have bad. And these energies were so powerful, it just kept on rolling. Finally, we start letting this energy transmute, and me and Kalina start getting energy back into the more positive flow. A couple years after my dad had passed, in 2017, we did our other channel panel. And that was by far more successful, but it didn't feel as successful. As far as how many people came and how many people bought the video and how many people's lives were shifted and altered, all of it was even more successful than the first. It just didn't feel like it. So finally, 2018 comes, and I finally did enough healing to get back into that energy. And as soon as Kalina and I went to our Asheville event, we were feeling so good and having such a great time. Our bodies were physically healing from the weight we had gained. We were on our diet. We were losing weight. We had energy. And then the baby came. And the baby's a whole nother portal, whole nother energy. And I've shared a lot about what Kalina had gone through with her pregnancy, the traumas that our baby had gone through from birth until now. She had surgery even earlier this year. So these hardships have come and they've gone, but the energy is always transmuted. And this leads us into what we're talking about tonight. 2021 is an end of a cycle. It's not the end of hardships. It's not the end of life as we deal with life. It's not the end of life being tough on earth at certain times with certain subjects, depending on all of our own personal journey, what we need to learn in our experience, and all of these things. What it is doing is bringing in a new cycle with new types of energy that we can manifest. So let's go back a little bit. Let's step back a few feet and let's talk about the cycle. What Treb and Aridif, Treb, because Aridif didn't come till much later. What did Treb have to say when he first got here? And we're going to get into this here in a second, guys. I'm going to mute down for 1 second just to adjust something, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, sorry about that. We're having another small tech issue, but it's not too bad. We'll get into that in a second too. So 2012, I came to meet Treb around 2008 and got to know him for a couple of years. And as I'm connecting with him and learning, a lot of things in our community had come to the surface about 2012. And I guess this has been in the ether for a while. I personally knew nothing about 2012 besides, the Mayans and all of the types of energy around that. And then I asked Treb, what's going on with 2012? And this is before I started channeling him, or right around the same time I started to channel Treb, but after I met him. And I'm like, what's going on with this 2012? And he explained a lot of things, but it didn't have a reference for it, didn't have verbiage for it or words for it. So he described it as a transmutation of energy, a dimensional shift, a shift of consciousness, all these wonderful things. But once I finally started getting some of this language from seeing other channelers or being exposed to other words, then he had a vocabulary to share this with me. So around early 2010, probably right before I started channeling publicly, I asked him, explain to me again what's going to happen on 2012. I said, I just saw this article. It's talking about ships landing and these ETs called the Galactic Federation of Light are going to come down and start living here. I said, this sounds crazy. It doesn't sound like anything we've talked about. And he said, all right, let's talk about it. He described a cycle of energy. And this is, going back to the earliest videos that I did about densities, dimensions. I think our masterclass is already 8 years old at this point, maybe longer. But we talked about it on this, myself, Treb, and maybe even Aridif. This is a cycle. It's a cycle of energy. And while we're consciousness, we go through consciousness evolution, and these evolution pockets are called densities. And what a density is a place in that soul's journey evolution, not a personal evolution, not just one lifetime, but a whole soul of consciousness, the entity that we are and the oversoul that we're connected to. All of this part goes through conscious evolution together. Granted, planetary consciousnesses, solar system collective consciousnesses, even galactic consciousnesses, they all have their own evolution. But physically, as a physical being on Earth, the soul that I am in, the being called Rob, or the entity called Rob, is going to go through a shift that happens with the whole planet at once. And it's not just the planet, it's the whole solar system, but Earth is the one we're focused on, we're shift on. So in the year 2012, this will be a precipice of an energy cycle. And this cycle has 9 years before 2012, 9 years after 2012. And what happens is this energy comes into our solar system and reaches its most dense and maximus power right on or about, for us, December 21st of 2012. And we notate that specific timeline or that specific date because it's a solstice and because it's close enough to the precipice where it's an energy we can understand and connect with. So that's going to be when the energy is at its most, and then it's going to be gone 9 years after. And I'm like, wow, this sounds really exciting. And give me a second too, guys. I'm going to move this microphone. Kalina finally got her thing working, so she's going to join us.
I said you bring me to the studio so I can also throw up questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll get you there, Mom, before we get to channeling.
Okay.
So let me move the mic. Sorry, guys. We've just accustomed to working as parents at home. I know not everybody's used to it yet, but yeah, that's how we're operating for now. I'm going to turn this fan too, Mom. I'm hot.
And hopefully that volume will stay down. I am a fairly new iPad user, guys. I'm still trying to figure it out. Here you go, sweetie. That water was...
Appreciate it. So 2012 being at that cycle basically means that at that point, everyone will have already shifted into the next cycle of their evolution. And we're talking about 2012. When the energy is at its maximum, the 9 years before, you're building up to that. And the 9 years after, it's shifting downwards so that you can fully set into that energy. And then I was like, wow, that's got to be really intense. What kind of evolution is this going to bring us? And he said, the side effects of that evolution is for you to be the next dimensional beings that you're going to be. Telepathy, psychic ability, easier manifestation, more connection with other consciousnesses. But the focus into physical reality that all humans are going to go through this cycle, both 9 years leading in and 9 years leading out, that energy is going to be moving from the mastery of looking at yourself, understanding yourself, and starting to go into the mastery of connecting and knowing that connection. And basically, when you look at your chakras and you look at your densities, they're also very close to one another with evolution. The third density is mastery of the sense of self in linear time, moving away from this energy of instinct, like an animal instinct, where you just experience in that moment and you store the memory in your body instead of in your mind. That's a very second density. So third density is the more human energy, the starting to understand that there's a past and a future, and working your mind with that energy of linear time and knowing about yourself and what it is that you desire, what it is you want, how it is you perceive the world. The ego consciousness starts becoming more active in the emotional aspects of the human. And that is the third density. And we're shifting out of that. We're going to have to work on the mastery of that, knowing yourself, working with linear time, trying to be more natural in our appliance of that natural time versus the man-made time. And we're also going to have to learn how to connect with each other and ourselves. And that's going to be the new journey. That's what we're moving into, and what we're moving out of is all of the other stuff, the very human stuff. So when this first comes down to me mentally, I'm like, that's cool, right? So some of this stuff I'm hearing is not all incorrect. It doesn't feel right, the landing on the Galactic Federation and all that stuff, that doesn't feel right. But some of what other channelers are saying makes sense. And so that energy was very, very open for me to get behind and say, yeah. And also I could see in the collective already, just starting in 2010. Now at 2010, I mean, this 9-year cycle was almost up. This was 7 years into the cycle. From 2010, it had already been since 2003. So I could see this collective group, this community of metaphysics and people who are dealing with New Age or conscious folks or spirituality, whatever you want to call that, community was growing hugely. And I was like, wow, this makes sense. People are starting to get into their own psychic stuff and their own intuition. And this is really great, So the more I connecting with Treb, I start channeling him, 2010, publicly. These are some of the first topics we want to talk about, right? This is a new age. This is really great stuff. We're getting all this energy to put towards this amazing manifestation stuff. So we're doing it and we're sharing it. And the later it comes, the more I start worrying, because I'm like, this energy, this accelerated energy to help us finish mastering the third density and start working with the fourth density, I don't see it. I do not see it. I see people fighting with each other. I see wars happening. I see people suffering. I don't think we're going to make it, Treb. And he's like, of course you're going to make it. Everyone makes it. Mm. And then people talk about the law of one. And, what about harvesting? Only certain good souls will get harvested. And everyone who wasn't service to others, they're going to get sent back and do their whole thing again. And I said, what's up with that, Treb? No, don't. Everybody makes it. It's not a singular person process of elimination. It's a singular process for everyone, but everyone comes together. Everyone gets to make it together. It's just the personal individual will have to go through their own part of that perspective at their own pace. And it could be a lifetime. It could be 5 lifetimes. It could be 1,000 lifetimes, but they will get through it individually. But this is the start of that new journey. So I'm like, wow, that kind of makes sense. You know, we have to live on our own terms. We have to be ourselves. We have to do what we think is right and feel is right. When we die, we have a very individual afterlife, manifestations, connections, how we experience it. So it would make sense that this spiritual growth and this new life would also be an individual scale. So that makes sense. So I guess we don't get harvested. I guess we don't. And then that subject started to be very important around 2014 or 2015, 2016, because people started talking about, you know, harvest and the event. So we made a video. And that video said, you know what? You're an individual. Yes, some people will fly through their evolution. Some people will feel fourth density. Even way back in 2010, most people aren't. Most people are going to go through a very human experience and go through it in the way they have to. So now we're getting, you know, 2016, 2017, me and Kalina are doing our healing from the pain and suffering of what we went through with my dad.
My mom died this year too.
Yeah, as
we've
we're coming
had
up.
so many friends who they've lost a parent this year. So I just want to send my love and condolences for all of you who, I know we say lost and we know that they're not truly lost, but you lose the format of the connection you had and the role. Like my mother is so much more than my mother now. And she was while she was here, but she's expanded so much more. And the death gives us who are still here the opportunity to expand our consciousness, gives us maybe a challenge that we can look forward to and enhancing our abilities to connect with our loved ones, because the last couple of years, especially, there have been a lot of people who have on a soul level decided to leave. And I believe there's going to be more coming and re-entering. So I just thought I would add my 2 cents. I also wanted to say something, unless you were you? I don't think you were finished with your thought.
I wasn't, but that's fine. No. If you have something to share, Mom, go ahead. I've got a very long thing ahead of me. Yeah, so we still got a ways to go.
I wanted to talk about metaphorically the concept of harvesting in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
You want to think of it in terms of like, if you're putting a seed in the ground, you're cultivating it, you're growing it, you're giving it everything you need, and then you get a what? You harvest. So somehow it's become this like external thing, right? Where people are getting harvested souls, right? But I think it's more about, if you think about, have you cultivated the seeds within yourself? Have you given your spirit the water, the sunlight, the love, and the nourishment you need to cultivate yourself? Does that make sense? So, and I think that's what we're dealing with. But along with this, sometimes, you know, for instance, a farmer or a gardener, they'll do with all the best things. You still have occasionally weather that happens, a hurricane happens, a tornado comes in, a drought happens, right? And that's part of life. And sometimes the person may up and move, or so this is kind of part of the earth experience that we experience. But, you know, spiritually speaking, we know that internally we have a lot more control within that, like the internal freedom. That a lot of us have had our external freedoms challenged, but you can lock a person up and they can still go within for the most part. And it can be hard, especially if, say, you're not having your physical needs met, like maybe you're not having enough water or enough food, but you can still learn to focus internally and plant and water and give the sunlight and all of the good, and use the bad weathers of life as lessons on how can I find a way to have a harvest even through the difficulties. Where do I need to move within myself where the climate's more appropriate? And of course, climate's always changing. So I just wanted to kind of use that. I when I hear things, I also try to think of it in a spiritual metaphor. Like, what does this mean from an internal spiritual, in an internal spiritual sense? So I just thought I'd add that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that too, Mama. And all of these things are beautiful too. And they'll tie definitely into as we're going through. So I'll continue, guys, here on this little timeline. So we're at about 2015 or 2016. People are like, holy shit, 2012 is done. Things feel intense. Yes, we felt a shift. We felt something happen where things are better with our knowledge and our thirst for knowledge, but they're not showing up in the world, and they're freaking out, and they're listening to things that could be, really, really rough for their own minds and their consciousness. Like hearing the Wall of One and hearing those harvest things and then freaking out, oh my God, I'm going to leave behind my family because my family just doesn't believe in the spirituality. They still have Christianity, or they still have, Muslims are still Jewish, and all of these different things. And I always tried to tell them, this is something that they've got to do, but they're not getting left behind. You don't leave behind. Yes, you can project yourself in these versions of reality where you have different versions of everybody, and you can go into timelines where your family starts feeling that way. But even these things can be extremely difficult. Most of us can't reconcile the difference of our loved ones with a version of them that's so different from the ones that we love. It would almost be like loving a stranger for a lot of us. And I think that was a fear, the concern of having that person shift so far out of who they are in order to be the one that we wanted. And then the question is it ethical to want a different version? I love this person because they are them. Do I really want to shift the timeline and make a whole different version? This part is creation versus co-creation. It's very heated debates on Facebook as I've been sharing it lately, mentioning something without mentioning that we're going through in our personal lives, where someone I love is going through something that I don't like at all, and I am not happy about. And it's not their choice, and it's not my choice. And despite my choice or their choice, that choice is taken out of our hands, and it infuriates me. And I'm so pissed about it. And as I share these things, these people don't know what the specifics are, but they're arguing a lot of these spiritual points out. You can shift timelines. You could do this. You can think happier thoughts. And I'm like, no, no, because no matter, timeline thing, it would take so much energy for a human to do that at the level of evolution we're at. It would be hard, but
not always.
Yes, because in this specific circumstance, we already did that. We had a timeline where the counter person, who is kind of a pushing force against us, actually had alignment with us. And we were doing that for a long time. There's
a situation with a person that would change this person completely from how this person's known. That's how I'll put it.
Right. And that's too far into that, I think. And the theme is we're all going through something, and that takes us up to where we are now. This energy where we know a shift happened, we felt the shift, and then we're like, well, in 2 years, this is going to be done. 2021, this is all done. Why is this happening now? 2019 took us into the craziest year that most of us have ever seen in our lives. I know I'm 42, almost 42. I'll be 42 in a couple weeks in January. I've never seen it. I never heard my parents say that they've seen something that's crazy. My dad wasn't here to compare what was and what is now. But my mom definitely was.
I want to say something. I don't know, okay, so Lee Harris had a beautiful solstice. You guys should definitely check out his channel after this, if you haven't already heard his winter solstice channeling. And I wanted to pose a question to you, sweetie. If I remember correctly, one of the things that Lee was posing, he had put it like, what are you grateful for what you're thankful for 2021? So like, this situation is hard. And I thought that was very profound to ask. Like, so what are you thankful for? What have you learned from this?
Well, that's very much on alignment with all the themes of tonight, because it's been rough and it's been hard, and all of us have had to shift our lives completely.
Right.
But everything that's happened to everyone I know, not just me, not just my own personal shit, every single person I know is first more of themselves. Secondly, more in touch with themselves and the ones that they're still connected with. God knows that the separation in ideologies have separated people, family, friends, but even some of that's starting to wrap up, I've noticed. People, family who weren't talking are starting to talk again.
Mm-hmm.
All these things have taught us all more about who we are. Some of us have been rule followers our whole life. And then when this thing came along and they saw the rules, they fought against those rules because they said this is too much.
Shocked everybody.
Other people have always been within a rebellious state their whole life. And as soon as this came, it snapped them into, well, maybe there's a reason for rules and regulations. Regardless, some people it's made just more of themselves, but other people have found new parts of themselves. Regardless of which version of that you are, this is what this year was supposed to do. It was supposed to take all of the understanding about you in yourself, about you and your connections, where you're starting, relationships, the heart, which is the journey we're now starting, the time, how we experience time. How many people have just up and walked away from their jobs because they're tired of giving away 10 hours a day?
Or just didn't go back.
Or never went back.
Found a way to make a living, or a lot of people downsized.
Yeah.
Which really, truly, they upsized if you look at it from a spiritual perspective.
Hugely. And that's what I'm getting at. This cycle, this whole thing is meant to come back to this point where, regardless of the pain we've gone through, the suffering we've gone through, the losses we've gone through, the frustration with other people that we've gone through, we know where we stand with ourselves more than we ever did. We have mastered that. Now, the challenge of the new fourth density begins. We are on Earth. We are humans. We're in a place with adversity, and we're in a place with high bandwidths of multiple different types of energies, a spectrum of diversity and polarity. And now we've mastered ourselves. We mastered who we are. And now we have to start mastering our connection with others. And what a better way to start that journey than splitting the collective in half with all of the issues that have been rough and saying, now you've got to figure out how to work together. I mean, Jesus. That's powerful. It's an extremely powerful way to start. That's where we're at now. That's what you're looking at. Some of us have already started doing that. Some of us have already started getting our ducks in a row with people who see differently than us. Some people never got angry at people who saw it a different way. I know I've tried my best. No matter what my personal opinion was about anything, I've always tried to respect the perspectives of others. But that's my thing. That's kind of something I try to do anyway. And all these people who disagreed with us were trying to learn how to get along again. And that's where we're at. That's the third density and fourth density journey. That's the splitting.
Do you think some of
the energy,
some of the pain might come from the expectation of others to kind of try to get along, or to try to understand where the other person or group might be coming from? I think that's where a lot of the pain comes in, is, it's kind of like, you guys, how many of you guys have experienced where you open a door for somebody and they don't even acknowledge you, they just walk right through, and that used to piss me off when I was younger. It's like they walked in with this air like, yeah, you better open that door and I'm not even gonna look at you. And then it occurred to me one day, my guides were like, why do you have the expectation that they should nod to you and be polite just because you want to be nice and open a door? You're asking energetically for something in return. I was like, oh, yeah, wow. Well, okay. Well, I guess the arrogance was just staring me back in the face. And it's not that I didn't have the genuine desire to open the door for someone, nor am I calling you arrogant, sweetie. He's had some crazy stuff he's had to deal with this week.
Oh no.
But
no, I've been arrogant many times. My head isn't this big for no reason, right, guys?
We thought it was the Polish genes, but no, right?
That's just a small part of the issue. And sorry, guys, for the bots. I've noticed a bunch of bots coming in, spamming our live stream, but I've been killing off the.
I wonder where they're coming
ability.
from.
It's anytime people congregate now. They've got bots that search out for live streams larger than 20 at a time, and they just start spamming. If you guys notice it, flag it to us, and we'll shut it down. Thank you, guys. Sorry, baby. Go ahead.
Guys. No, that's okay. I mean, that's pretty much, what I had to say. I think it's just part of the pain is we're wanting to function as a collective and get along, but we have this belief that we have to all be on the same page, and maybe that's not it. We don't have to all believe the same thing. I mean, if that was the case, so many of us wouldn't struggle with the concept of, AI or, expanding our bodies technology. I know some of you'd be very excited by it, but some of the struggles there, because you want to be your own independent person, but you want to also, flow with the community or the group or with the world. So it's going to be a delicate balance, I feel. And I really feel like a lot of it has to do with us just learning to be our authentic selves and giving as much space and room for the other to grow, with the main role just being do our best not to hurt others or to trespass on other people's willpower. And it's tricky. It's tricky in this old dynamic that we have with the rules and the regulations. And of course, it's different from culture to culture all around the world. And it's going from like an external governed control to now can people be really evolved enough to have that internal control so that when they're going out and about in the community, we actually benefit each other. So no one's ruling over each other. We rule with each other by ruling ourselves, by being there for, our children, looking out for each other's children well-being, and just flowing. together and being okay with some people having radically different beliefs, so long as we try to come from a space of understanding and not trying to push someone to be exactly like us or to think or behave exactly like us. And like I said, right now it's really delicate, and most of us couldn't quite fathom, like, how the hell do we do that? What does that look like? Even that's not logical, Kalina. Like, I could just like feel some of that coming from you all, and that's the thing. We have to evolve into that, and the only way we're going to do that is if we can find a way to have open discussions and maybe approach it with curiosity rather than judgment. And that's hard, especially when it hits like your raw points. Like, there are people who they don't intend to come with, to us sometimes, with insensitivity, but like, for instance, with Rob's son and his disabilities, kind of like with great intentions will bring up suggestions and advice, even advice that would actually kill him. So I mean, that's just one example. And so we have to try to come from a place of realizing they're trying to help. And sometimes it can come across as judgmental when you get people who are saying like, well, you just need to manifest a new version of reality of Jeremy, you know what I mean? And that's like, but we also, for ourselves, we want to honor his journey as a soul. To us, he chose this, and we want to do our best to support him. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, Elon Musk is going to like contact us someday, go, hey, you want him to walk? You want him to talk? I got it. And like, do we trust that? There's so many things that we couldn't fathom, especially now that we're in this new 5D reality, that could happen and change everything. That's just one example. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with him. I'm just saying we don't know what kind of surprises life has in store for us. And I think the last 2 years have really shown us that. Just surprise.
It taught you everything that you thought you understood and knew about life was conditional. And that when you put your expectations to any degree, to any reality, that the earth will show you what it's made of on the collective form and say, right, surprise,
But I think even the arguing is going to reflect what we need to learn, because even when we get upset or triggered by someone or something, just like the example I said with the opening the door, those people were just shining a light on the part of me that was just opening the door to feel like I'm a good person. I'm nice to people, like, and like sucking out that acknowledgement of a thank you. And like, I realized that, there was a part of me, not all of me, most of me really genuinely meant that, but there was a part of me that was little spiritual vampire trying to get my little spiritual brownie points, instead of like, whatever, it's okay. You don't have to thank me. I love you as a soul. I'll open the door for you.
That's everything. That's everything we've gone through in the last 2 years represents that exact idea. Why did we believe what we believed? Why did we connect to a certain ideology, a political party, a certain religion, a certain anything? Why did we do all these things that we did? Like I said, the example I gave earlier about the rule followers being the ones who are protesting and the people who were rebels start following the rules, all of that is a raw reflection that me and Kalina have seen hundreds of times with examples of people we know in real life, people we've known for multiple years through this work, even though we've never physically hugged them and met them. We know them quite well through our years of interactions.
We've never met Vashta and feel so close to her.
She's one of our
We don't
great
even have
friends.
to have big conversations with her. It's just, we know her heart. She's family. She's like a sister to us.
And there's dozens of people out there we've met through the years that we've come to know that way. And we've seen genuine, deep changes in everyone through this last couple of years. There's very few people who feel unaffected in the last 2 years. they've either had their life going much better, much worse, or shift with a little bit of both, but in the opposite directions of what they were going. Me and Kalina have that thing when we create our experience. We always have, at very least, a little bit of good, like really good, and a little bit of really tough at the same time. And we navigate that. And when it gets too heavy one direction, it always tips the boat. Absolutely. When things are going too well, then something huge comes and splashes down on us.
Well, let's be careful with the word always. That's something William points out with you a lot too.
That's how we've experienced as up to this time. And like, again, I don't want to get held up on an expectation.
Surprise.
But the energy has shifted hugely for both of us in this last couple of years. This was part of the reason I went into the story with my dad. Since 2015, in one form or another, no matter how many good things we had going for us, there was always still a heavier weight balancing to not good. And a lot of that has to do with those that we love. Kalina losing her own mother, me losing my father, having both of our kids going through hell, and just feeling the pain that they're going through, or worrying about what's next in their future, or how good or bad things could be. And I've told everyone this before. My children are the greatest part of my spiritual journey because they teach me more about my capacity to love than anything in the world can. As much as I love Kalina, as much as I love my parents, my siblings, my friends, my kids, I would just die for instantly. Oh, you have a headache? Well, I'll give you my life, to prevent your headache. That stupid, imbalanced, highly selfless form of love that I feel for my kids. And it's my greatest spiritual tool. And it's also the thing that shatters my earth the most. Because the moment I see their pain, it takes me out of who I am. I am not the guy that worries about everything. I'm not the guy who is sour through life. I'm not the guy who just hates people or things or ideas. I'm the guy who's accepting. I'm the guy who wants to do things freely. I'm the guy who wants to find the best in everyone. And when something goes wrong with one of them, I can switch any or all of those things all at once. And it's horrible that can do that to a person, but there's no balance in myself that I found for it. And I think this is part of our mastery of third density and our beginning in fourth. I can't balance that in myself. I know I can't. I will not try to balance it.
Try to balance what?
The imbalance I have with how much I love my children. That love is...
What makes you think it's an imbalance, though?
It's an imbalance because I can lose myself. In my love for them, I can lose who I am. And I know that. But that's what all of us are getting ready to start learning. This is the time in our lives, in fourth density, where we're getting done with the learning about ourselves. We already, through this last 2 years especially, all of us know how we feel about ourselves. All of us understand our strengths and weaknesses, our desires to do better, the way we really think and feel about a lot of things in life, more now than ever. That part, I feel, is mastered. And of course, we'll still work on aspects of that. But now it's truly time to focus on our connections. So I think there is a possibility that at some time in our evolution, that parents, lovers, family members, friends, they won't have to have that weird sense of imbalance that can come from loving someone so much that it can just fuck your whole world up when you see them in pain or suffering.
I feel like there's going to be a lot more community involvement in the future. I think.
Yes.
I think humans are going to become
community
polyamorous. I think the children, although they'll have some dominant parents and parental figures, the community is gonna
take care of their kids.
Yeah, and the children are gonna have a lot more respect. But with that evolution, they're going to be like little adults a lot faster. It's just what I feel.
Yeah, we already see it in the new generation of kids coming up, but I think you're right. It'll be even better than that. You were talking about Lee and his transmission today.
Mm-hmm.
Lee has been a friend of mine and Kalina's for a long time. We met him back in 2014, preparing for the channel panel, got to know him. And then since 2015 through now, we've got to know him really well. And Kalina's been getting great benefit from his work lately.
I became a portal member because he's just a breath of fresh air. He really is.
Yeah, out of every channeler that's out there, his channeling is the only channeling I've heard that before 2019 actually talked about this year being a huge year, an energy like for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I didn't know how far that went back until about 2019 when he would bring that up. Yeah, the Z's have been talking to me about 2021 for years, and we've been talking about it on our podcast. And then I go back and listen to older stuff, and oh my God, how did I not know that another channel? I felt like I was crazy. I was like, is Treb and Aridif crazy? I mean, do they think 2021 is some kind of special thing that no one else is picking up on? And then Leaf has it too, but Lee has been talking about community also. Mm-hmm. Our dear friend Reuben Langdon, the guy who does Interview with Ed, he's been talking about the importance of community. Ever since 2019, when the world felt like it was falling apart and people divided, all of us have been focused on community. Me and Kalina have been doing...
And where the individual stands within the community.
Right, and me and Kalina have had perspectives of community for a long time. Me and her have talked about this for years, about how important community is and how we wanted to start our own place where we get land and invite people on to have time together and to spend.
We'll get there.
All of these things for community. But that part of community in community is also that human thing that I was just talking about. It's also one of the points for my frustration right now, because we already have a community. We already have a group of people who believe similar thoughts. And a lot of the energies between our community have been rough because a lot of the energies have been going into more dogmatic perspectives, which is something that triggers my own issues and my own frustration because of my own trauma with religion. And it reminds me of religion because there's so many philosophies that go that way. And that's why you've heard me, those of you who follow me on Facebook, I talk about my perspective on Galactic Federation of Light and other things in our community that have been more harmful than helpful from my perspective, even though I can appreciate the fact that everything does bring a good possibility of growth for someone, even if it's not good for them. You know, like getting hooked on drugs wasn't good for me, but it was one of the most important parts of my spiritual aspects. So as I respect it, I also try to figure out what the trigger in me is about those things too. So it's all secular, guys. And this, I'm trying to make a very long story short by saying this part of our collective is doing the mastery of our work now and getting ourselves squared away. And today represents the day where we can really start doing that collective heart chakra connection, community, person to person, person to group, person to collective. That's where this work really begins. It's not the ending of anything. It's a finishing of a cycle to start a new cycle and a bringing about all that energy. And that's why we did this today. That's why we wanted to make sure that the solstice was a celebration for all of us, because this puts some very heavy older energies in our rear view mirror. If we let it go, if we allow ourselves to let it go, and then we can focus on what's in front of us. I think it's beautiful.
And I wanted to touch upon something you said earlier about how you said you could lose yourself in the children as an individual. And I was thinking maybe for some people it's losing themselves in the community because they're trying to find a flow and find, a family. And it really has to do with that familial energy. So for me, though, I've found that in my getting lost in my daughter in particular, I've also found myself, new parts of myself, and grown greater. So I think you can expand, by, rather than losing yourself, stabilize the energy within yourself, make yourself a priority. You know what I mean? Because it makes us better parents and truer to ourselves. And I think that could be equally exchanged into like the community. Fill your own cup up first. Once you give to yourself and nourish yourself and heal yourself, you'll be able to give so much more to the community. And it's not like you have to be 100%. Just, if you can't walk and need a wheelchair, don't be offering a wheelchair to other people that can walk, or can get along with a cane, is all I'm saying. Remember that you're part of the community. You are part of the community, and you do not owe anyone the sacrifice of your true self and your heart, especially when that's the gift that you actually have to give the community. And I don't mean to sound preachy. These are just a lot of things that I've reflected upon this year within myself and really trying to figure out that balance in between. So
humans in general have this consensus that we should be a part of a group. It's actually written in every book about propaganda. That's kind of a tool that they use to weaponize against humans. That's why the whole energy behind politics and religion and anything that makes you a part of a group can actually keep people more divided than helpful, because you want to identify with your part of the group so badly that you do lose yourself.
That, and I think we're also super attracted to drama. If we're really honest with ourselves as human beings, we like a good story. And once you finally kind of get tired of that drama and replace it with genuine excitement for what you want to do or what you want to be, finding out who you are, I think it, because I remember as a little kid, whenever I'd watch a movie, I used to think to myself, why does there always have to be a problem? And I was told because it won't be interesting. And I said, well, has anybody ever tried to write a story where you still grow, but you're not being beat to death with torture, whatever, and I mean, it's like we look for ways to, we think we're going to alleviate some sort of boredom, but do we really want to? I get that we want to feel. Some people do it just to feel something, but I might have gone a little bit off on a tangent there, but it's just funny. We should do that as an exercise. Write a story. Not that nothing happens. I'm just saying ridiculous, over the moon crap. Like,
Yeah. And I'm going to put up a comment. The stimulus says, when my kid gets a headache, I say, glad you got me. I think as Lily gets a little older, it'll be easier for me. Right now, both of our kids are kind of helpless in that way. Jeremy is always that way.
I don't know. I don't think they're as helpless as they seem.
Yeah. But right now it feels like there's an energy behind the parenting with both of them. Like basically neither of them can survive at any level unless we do almost everything for them. Feeding, diaper changes, food. And even
that'll change with Lily, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Jeremy's been that way since birth and will always be that way.
We don't know. We could be surprised with the technology going on now.
Of course, anything could change. But I'm saying, until the foreseeable future, that's his pathway. That's always been. For Lily, I know that will change, and we've had to deal with all the things that I think when Lily gets older and those things do start changing, that's also going to heal some of my trauma that I have had with Jeremy too. Honestly, I didn't realize how much trauma was left with Jeremy until we had Lily, and the birth was very, very similar in the process of the long hours of birthing and all the process that happened in between, and the final result all the way up until Lily came to this side and I heard that first initial cry. That was kind of when I knew that it was over and that the outcome wasn't going to be the same. But I didn't realize how much of that I held on to. I was like,
part of it's there to heal you.
Right. And that's the thing too. The next chapter of Lily's life as she gets older and shifts through all these things. I mean, she's already doing things now.
She's incredible.
That my son wasn't able to do, which brought up those old traumas of not seeing his development. So some of that's already been shown to me, but the older she gets and talking and eventually getting old enough to drive, all those things.
I remember you told me, like, when Jeremy's mother was pregnant with him, you used to have these imaginings of you guys playing ball and just all these things that parents imagine being able to do. And you told me it's not like you were, disappointed or anything, but you were just sad because he would never, you said he would never be able to, have a conversation or to play ball or to get married and have children.
Right.
And
well,
broke down crying, just reliving that, and just, him not being able to enjoy, but he also at the same time, I don't think he really knows what he's missing out on. He's like probably the most happy, jovial person I've ever seen, guys, honestly. I mean, this kid is amazing, and his pure emotion, his pure, whatever emotion he's in, but most of the time he's happy and loving and jovial. And so in some ways, I think he sees more than we do because he's so raw and so real.
Sure.
He can't fit inside the box, be taught what box. Whereas Lily, she's finding newfound freedoms every day by doing these things. But these same things can be the things that can box her in as she gets older. So there's a fine line between that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The health issues, though, suck for him to have to go through the health stuff. That's the,
Having him at 19 too was a big difference.
I
look at my mentality and my maturity at that point, comparing it to where I am now. It's just light years difference.
Give yourself a lot of credit. I would have been a disaster if I had been a 19-year-old mom. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I was a bit of a disaster, but with his situation, it made you grow. Having a baby, even when you're in your teenage years, it still makes you grow up quick. But with him, a 19-year-old with the experience of the world as just that. Didn't really give me a wider perspective of things that he could do. Those little things that I worried about were all the little things in my own life that I also knew, because I had a kid at 19 I was going to lose out of my own. And in some way, I know it's projected vicariously living, blah, 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 etc. But anyway, I don't want to digress too much into that side of it either. I want to appreciate you guys for being here with us on this journey. I wanted to emphasize
we've been talking a while too.
Yeah, we have. I wanted to emphasize the focus of the reason why we're celebrating this more. We've done a couple of solstice things here and there, but nothing really huge or nothing really out of the way. But we had to put in work to make this happen tonight for the reason that we wanted to celebrate this with you guys. The importance of the shift of energy through everyone personally, through our collective energies, and watching what happens here in the next few years as things unfold in our collective, like fundamentally changing the way that we operate as a planet. I feel like that is in its infancy right now, and it starts with that community, and it starts with knowing yourself more than you ever did, and knowing how to place yourself in a collective energy, like Kalina was saying. All these things are hugely important. We just want to celebrate that with you guys. We really, really love you guys so much, and we appreciate all the things that you say and do when you share your energies with us, and you share how excited you are. And just when you share, hey, how are you? That really means a lot to us, because this journey, I never really thought I'd be taking it with anyone. I thought, hey, I'm excited to share this out. Maybe it'll help a few people, and then I'll go back to my normal life. And now this is my normal life, and it's pretty fantastic that we're all able to be in the same place at the same time and do this, and have the energy and the time and the efforts and the kids and all of you guys and Kalina and everything to be able to do this and to share the exciting acknowledgement of the shift of consciousness of this day being the end of this beautiful 18-year cycle. I mean, I'm sure some of you may have just been born at the beginning of that cycle or around that cycle, or maybe even before you were born. So being through that cycle, just knowing and feeling and experiencing it with you guys is amazing. So we're going to get to the channeling soon. I'm going to get ready to start neutralizing, guys. Before we jump in, though, I just want to say hi to all of you guys. There's so many of you tonight, I can't go through to say all of your names, but I did want to say hello to you guys. And I wanted to hear what do you feel in your guys' experience has been the biggest shift of the last couple of years, and what do you feel like the next shifts are going to be? I'd really love to hear you guys' opinions, and we'll read through some of those. And kind of hear what.
Can you let me in the studio too, so I can throw up questions later?
Yeah, of course.
Comments.
Oh, all right, guys. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about where you guys are thinking and where you guys are going and all that stuff, please. We'd love to hear it. You can be in the studio anytime you want, Mom.
You have to let me in.
Well, you're already in, so you're on.
It says I'm in the background and it's waiting for you.
Right, but once you get to that page, I can let you in. And
I am. I can't have multiple tabs open like you. At least not that I'm aware of on this.
Okay. Well, if you go into that,
I'm in there. It says you are backstage.
Sure.
Oh, hang on a second. I think it might have cut out.
No, you're still there. Just I don't want to open up your mic yet, because if I do, then all of a sudden we'll get back feed, because we'll have two microphones within a 3-foot spot.
I think I took care of it. Can we test it out real quick?
It's going to blow people's eardrums out if you're wrong. I mean, that's if you want to test it. I don't know how else
to do it.
We don't have to. We're sitting in the same spot.
I literally have it muted.
Right. All right. Prepare your ears, guys, just in case.
Take out your headphones.
Yeah, take out your headphones and turn it down. We'll give you a 3-second countdown. 3, 2, 1. I'm so sorry.
Testing. It says mic is muted. See?
Yeah, that's fine. Good? I don't know. We'll find out. I gotta go live, and I gotta open up the tab and everything.
Test.
So I don't know. Hold on, it's gonna be a minute, Mom.
Okay. We would hear it in my
No, here it comes. It's just now coming to the part.
All right, let's find out a moment of truth.
All right, here we go.
I will just keep talking.
All right.
I think we're good.
All right, yeah, we're good.
Well, do you guys hear any feedback?
No, I listened. I just heard me say, "Oh, here it comes." So yeah, we're good. All right, guys. So tell us what you guys are thinking, what you guys are feeling, what you guys are going to be doing, how you think this next year is coming, all those things we'd really love to hear. I'm gonna go start getting neutral mom. If you want to
Okay.
pop in here and
Actually, yeah, I'm going to
comments.
use your computer because it's harder to navigate.
Yeah,
on this.
that's what I'm saying.
I might do it while you channel too, because
that's fine.
open
Whatever
up the
you want to do, we'll
questions
do.
there.
That's fine. Yeah. So, Pop, you know, whenever you see a comment you like, Mom, throw it
Pour
up.
me more coffee.
Yeah. Whenever you see a comment, throw it up, talk about it, and I'll be back in about 10, 15 minutes to channel.
All right. 2022. Oh, okay. I should probably throw this up here. So Summer Nova says 2022 is a big question mark. Yeah, it sure is, isn't it? It's like the year. I mean, these last couple years have been quite the surprises.
Aridif just talked about 2022.
Yeah, he did. Actually, I'm thinking of cutting. Thank you, sweetheart. Thinking of cutting that out so it's easy for you guys to navigate because we recorded for 3.5 hours or something like that last time. So I thought about just cutting that out and putting this beautiful artwork that Marina Seren did. It looks like Aridif's talking. I thought that would be really fun to have that with him talking about 2022 ahead. So, but yeah, it is a big question mark. But I guess that leaves a lot for us to answer, doesn't it? You know? I think we have certainly surprised what some people would call the powers that be externally. I think we've kind of given them the surprise that they gave us, but that's my opinion on that. Let's see, Katie Tucker says, looking forward to bringing in more of my personal power in 2022. Absolutely, me too. I'm with you on that. Oh, wow, there's so many wonderful comments here. Okay, go here. Ophanum of Merkaba says, my shift really made my acceptance of issues flow very smooth where it could have been emotionally the other way. Yeah, I have been experiencing that too. Like, I'm a lot more calm about certain things that I would have totally melted down on before, you know? And April says the Kali Yuga labor pains are challenging. Breathe. Yes, they are. I know I keep talking about Lee Harris. He's a dear friend, but for the past 5 years, he's been doing the rebirthing. This one would be called the Rebirth 2022. I think I'm going to sign up for that. So any of you guys are interested, it's wonderful. His music too, guys, phenomenal. And no, he didn't tell us that like promote him or anything. It's just wonderful, just wonderful stuff. I can't wait for us to do channel panels again and connect, and probably some of you guys listening right now will end up being on it someday, because I mean, so many people are opening up so intensely. I'm just reading through some stuff from earlier. Oh, yes, Jonathan, absolutely. Treb is friendly. Ofamum of Merkaba says, as for the future, I'm all about just listening to my higher self and finding hidden doorways to unlock. Absolutely. Just so you guys know, I don't know if this is just a YouTube thing, but there's a little note that says can't post comments to some destinations. So I'm not sure what that means, but just want to let you know we're not trying to withhold anything. Sometimes it's automated. Yeah. So, okay, so Jinger69 says, any suggestions of what to do to help me find my way? I'm meditating, but what else? So, interestingly, when you posed that question, Ophanim was talking about listening to the higher self, because ultimately, only you're going to be able to answer that question, and connecting to the greater part of yourself, your higher self, and with your guides, and even with angels, if angels jive with you, will help you. And the guidance I'm getting for you in terms of a form of meditation, and you've probably heard of a version of this before, is to sit down and write out a list of all the things that you're grateful for, even as small as things as, the smell of the beach air when you walk, or even just the smallest thing, fuzzy socks or something, even if it's really tiny. And as you begin to write about all the things that you love and appreciate, it'll start to open up doors and floods of memories, especially when you were a child. Also do a list of all the things you loved as a child, and I think it'll help you find your way internally, things that are exciting to you that lead you to nourish yourself. So writing things you're grateful for, but also the things that you like, things that you find highly approving, and then also connecting with your higher self. And by what I mean by that is having an actual dialogue, and you can even write or speak as if you're your higher self. And don't worry if it's not, like, if you feel like it's only like 20%, then you've got 20% of that information. You keep doing it, bringing it in more and more, and you'll find your way. But just remember, you want to really define also what you mean by your way. So that's what I'm picking up for you. And any of you guys that pick up on anything for our dear friend here, please feel free to comment. And then Katie Tucker says, I'm hopeful for the collective consciousness to resonate on a higher frequency. Oh, yes, that would be lovely, Katie. I think we need to also kind of transmute and really give love and compassion in the darkness within ourselves. And by darkness, I don't necessarily mean what we perceive as like negative, or even some of us might define as evil, but some things that we hide from ourselves, or that we're ignorant to, but innocently ignorant to, that can come off as lacking compassion. And I think a genuine curiosity helps for that. So, but I definitely am with you on that. What do you think, Katie? What do you think what's your definition of the collective consciousness resonating on a higher frequency? What does that look like? I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that. Oh yeah, Jonathan. I found that Gaia, sort of like Netflix, could be a resource with various video series to watch. Yes, I actually canceled Netflix and canceled Hulu, but signed up for Gaia, so I haven't gotten a chance to really watch it yet. But oh my gosh, I've heard there's some amazing stuff on it, so I'm looking forward to that. Because I just want more, higher conscious material. Oh, good morning, Marie. Happy solstice. Much love and gratitude to you too. Yep. And Aaron Sherman says, allow and trust in the now. Absolutely. What's that saying? I can't remember. It has to do with something along the lines. They call it, they call it the present because it's a gift or something along those lines. Whoever remembers that saying exactly, but yes, absolutely. Allowing and trusting in the now. And that's even good advice. Like how earlier April was talking about the birthing pangs. Allowing in that moment too also helps with the birthing process, which I didn't do too well at the moment when I was giving birth to Lily. And I personally regretted taking like the pain. I got so scared of the pain labor, and then the drugs caused me not to really be able to feel enough to. I mean, I felt the pain. Don't get me wrong, but it was like my muscles. I couldn't quite navigate to push. And so if I just allowed and trusted to use that pain and accept it to navigate, I really do feel in my heart it would have been a much faster, easier birth. And so I kind of look at that as, a metaphor for allowing and trusting in the now, whether you're laughing in that moment or you're crying in that moment. It could be hard, Sometimes we end up saying, give me the epidural or whatever in life. And it's okay. It's okay. We have plenty of love and friends to help us through that. Let's see. Hazy, Ricky, my guide. Frismia McAllister, the divine, has briefly channeled through just before I entered stream. Do you approve? I'm not familiar with your channeling, but you can drop a link for us to check it out, Hazy. If you have a channel or something, I'm always up on checking new stuff. Let's see. Jonathan says, hi, Marie. One of my favorite music groups is from Sweden, ABBA. Was just listening to them. Oh, I love ABBA. They're great. They always put a smile on my face. Oh, thank you, Jinger. She says, wow, thanks, Kalina. I'm new to all of this, and you touched on a lot of helpful things. Thank you. Ophanum says, another suggestion too, which has to do with meditation. YouTube offers activation frequencies of all sorts. Oh, yes, they do. Like I know, like there's I know a lot of people who use binaural beats. You guys might think this is a little cheesy, but one of the things I like to use, and it's the one and only public list I have on a playlist on YouTube, and it's like basically I call it relaxing nature sounds. And some of it's natural stuff, but others are like actually people create, their own version of artwork, moving artwork, and they put natural, like the nature sounds to it. And I find that just so soothing, the combination of artwork that people create and the sounds of nature, or the cinematography of nature, or the photography of any of those sounds are just wonderful. Go through a few. You already, sweetie? Almost.
Yeah, maybe
Little
3
more.
to 5 minutes. But
Yeah, no,
I'm looking for a headband. My hair keeps.
Oh,
I found this one. It's just a
we
cord
bought
wire
some
deal.
earlier. If you want to grab one, it's got a holiday theme.
Sorry.
No problem, baby. Let's see. And Hazy says, Fresnia says, default inner mechanism is always ego. Absolutely. And I have a bit of a different definition of ego, but I almost think of the ego as kind of like this, almost like an organ, and it wants to protect you and keep you alive. You know what I mean? And so it's like that animal instinct, and it's not bad, but it's if you don't make the personal decision to drive the own carriage of yourself and take responsibility, and I don't say that in like a judgment way, but responsibility for your own, then the ego is going to kind of take over, and when I say ego, I don't mean like narcissism. I mean, it's that part of you that wants to help you survive in this world. So it's very helpful and beneficial, but you want to be careful that ego is not driving you. And Hazy, I don't know, maybe Frisnia has a bit of a different viewpoint, but thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. It is a default inner mechanism because, we're here in bodies, we're on Earth, and the first thing we need to do is learn how to survive, isn't it? So, Luciana Torres, 2021 has been hard. I understand that now the doors are open for us to choose our timelines according to preference, and all of us here prefer harmony and togetherness, so this is it. It's happening. I agree with you, Luciana. That's what I choose too, is to have harmony and togetherness. And I've decided that no matter what's going to happen, especially over the next couple of years, is to see it as we're just resetting the chessboard, so to speak. But this time it's going to be a lot more fun, and there doesn't have to be just one winner, so to speak. But we're all having a good time. It's a game. Ultimately, we're playing and having a good time together as family. Let's see. A friend I'm sharing, I saw 888 Hertz earlier, so I'm thinking of finding the meaning to the number and guidance and seeing what it might open up in you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and if you want, you can drop a link down below. Just so you guys don't make the same mistake I sometimes do, is right click to open up a tab if you have the right kind of device to do that. Otherwise, if you click on it, it'll take you right out. But the chat will show later too, so if you want to go back to it later, it'll be there. And Katie says, collective consciousness, like you were saying, choosing our thoughts, beliefs are thoughts we keep thinking, turning to gratitude, staying in the now, and that triggers are teaching us. Absolutely. That's something I've been having to go through a lot with my own triggers, is finding those golden nuggets that there's like, this is going to be such a nasty analogy. It's like golden nuggets, but they're covered in shit. So you don't really see the value until you realize that there's a golden nugget in there to learn from and to grow, So, and then Katie continues and says, not stuck in victimhood, but realizing our divine magic to transmute and transform. Absolutely. Oh my God, you guys are on fire. We should just open up and have you guys channel stuff. Let's see. And Monique says, I am most excited for learning to communicate with new friends in the multi-dimensional realms and watching my family awaken to these relations. Yeah, I've been working on also like astral travels and dream state. It's like just friends in all ways. You know what I mean? Just I'd want to be able to communicate with my loved ones that passed on, especially my mom. But I'm also allowing myself not to have any expectations, just to see what will open up, because we're all pretty early in this process and different gifts are going to open up in different ways. But I'm excited too, and then you might be talking about your literal family too, and that'll be fun to watch all of us grow and change in our own ways.
Before we get going, guys, I need to do a test on something real quick. I need to see if you're able to hear me in a second. So I'm going to count down to 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to say a few words, and I want to know if you hear me after I count down to 3, 2, 1, just because we don't know what this will do, okay? So let's try it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Can you still hear me? Because I want to make sure all of you can still hear me. All right, and now everyone should hear me again. And then, all right, perfect. All right. Beautiful.
Are these two different? I'm seeing new comments everywhere.
Well, yeah, new comments popping up because, yeah, we're behind on comments. When you highlight comments, it stops new
Are some of these
coming
from
in.
Facebook? Because I think I'm only seeing
No,
ones
the
from
next
YouTube.
tab is, and that's why I was making sure you can
Gotcha.
actually go back and forth without losing the microphone.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you guys that are on Facebook, that's why I wasn't. Let me see. Oh, good.
Yeah. So I wanted to let you guys know too. I see a lot of comments coming in, and normally we say hi to everybody we know, and even people we don't know. We've got a lot of comments tonight, so if we miss you, it's not because we're intentionally not trying to see it. It's just because we usually only have, maybe a dozen people or so, but now we've got a couple dozen on Facebook, and we've got, a couple dozen over on YouTube. So
did this open up the other? Like, are you also on your other backup YouTube channel too?
yeah, I'm on 2 YouTube channels and 4 or 5 of the Facebooks and Twitch. Nice. So we're on a bunch. We're on
nice.
we're
but I'm able
literally
to
on
throw
8
up
different
everybody's
places.
comments now. So
yeah,
or is it just I'm only seeing YouTube and
no?
Facebook?
YouTube will be this tab, and then Facebook over here. Twitch doesn't have anybody watching right now because nobody knows my Twitch.
Gotcha.
It doesn't archive, so people just go to my channel.
We're getting there. We're getting there, guys.
If you guys do Twitch, if you get into gaming or whatever other things that happen over on Twitch, if you have a Twitch account, go follow us over there too, because we're going to start doing next year individual streams for individual places. I'm going to have one more minute of breathing, guys, and then I'm going to join in. I just wanted to make sure we were where everyone was able to hear us on both streams. To make sure that we could do the Q&A properly.
So I'm curious, while Rob is doing that, what is a 1 to 3 word theme you guys feel for 2022 for yourself? No peeking what anybody else says. 1 to 3 words. So that helps you hone in. Okay, so I will post mine, and it's gonna look like Rob wrote it. Oh, it says error on Facebook.
Yeah, it's not going to send out what you wrote to those Facebook pages.
Oh,
but
I
it's
thought
all right.
I was on.
It's good.
I didn't realize I was on Facebook.
You can. Well, you're on both. This is Facebook.
Oh no, this is Facebook. I tried to post
right,
something
and
here.
it's just telling you that it's not connected to Facebook. That's why I had to start a second stream.
Oh, gotcha.
Because Facebook only allows you to go live when they tell you can go live.
Let me see if it'll work now.
Well, what you wrote, they saw. Everyone on YouTube did. If you want people on Facebook to see it, you have to write it over there. Or you could just go back up.
No, I was trying to put it up here.
Oh, then just scroll back up because it did right on the YouTube. Right there.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's my 2022. That's came to me. And it's just intuitive. So let's take a look. So O'Findham says only looking forward.
It's a good one.
And we've got love, shine, and integration.
Beautiful.
Sorry, I'm going through these fast. Inwards, listening, and radiating.
Perfect.
Adjusting to transition.
Love
Nice. Love it. That's great. Honoring myself first.
Beautiful.
Self-love and following my heart. Less veil, clarity. All right, let's see what they're saying on Facebook. I want to make sure I'm. It was so tempting. I know this isn't yours, but I just thought it'd be funny. It's 3 words. Ouch, just kidding. It's so fitting for energies. Okay, so let me try to figure out where this started off from. Facebook.
Yeah, we're still live on Facebook.
No, I was just looking to see if they had any of the. Oh, I see. Some of it is apparently Facebook is hitting send, is sending out before people are ready.
Yeah.
Facebook is notorious, isn't it? All right. So, ooh, more magic within.
Beautiful.
Love myself completely.
Mm.
That's a good one.
That's great.
And they're all good. Master manifestation.
Beautiful. Shari, hello. Nice to see you here. It's been a minute.
Release with love.
Oh, beautiful.
These are great, guys. These are wonderful. And I'll tell you something that can be fun is if you ever want to take paper, like whenever somebody's channeling these little bits of things, put them on, like write them out and then cut each little sentence out and then draw it to have like a theme that you can work on with, because we're all here together as a community. I mean, I resonate so much with these. For me, tapping in is just going into a deeper, more intense connection than I've ever gone before. And I'm very excited about it. I'm curious to see where it'll take me.
These are all the questions too, Mom, right here.
Thank you. And
you're going to take over the captain's seat.
I shall, but I would like to have a small bathroom break before we begin.
I'll talk to everybody while you're doing that.
What are your 1 to 3 words, sweetie?
For 2022? Making connections. Well, let me see. I would say connections inside and out. Connections inside and out. Yep, removing false constructs. Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of you on Facebook, we haven't seen your comments, so you guys moved over to our YouTube channel. We appreciate the fact that you went there too. But if you're here on Facebook, we've got your back now. Removing false constructs. Beautiful. Opening and expanding. Oh, Shari's in Belize right now. That's so beautiful.
I am back.
All right, I'm going to answer this too real quick while Kalina's getting ready to come back over. My meditation was organic. It was a lot of homemade meditations, but most of the stuff I built was from the HemiSync Gateway experience.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
It was the HemiSync Gateway experience. Jack Kornfeld had a lot of meditation for beginners. That was really good. I took a lot of techniques from him. Treb taught me a few things. I taught myself things looking through meditation, plus the stuff I learned from my spiritualism church. So it really was kind of a mishmash of everything.
You did a lot of HemiSync too, right?
Yeah, the Gateway experience from Monroe Institute, HemiSync. So I would say, the Gateway experience it's prohibitively expensive. It's like $600 for the whole course. Most people can't afford that. I couldn't afford it back then. I found it elseways, and then I ended up donating after I started making more money, and I did that. And it ended up being something beautiful. Yes. Shine bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky.
That's actually one of Rob's favorite songs.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite newer songs. Anything that's been done in the last 5 to 7 years, probably I don't sync up with too much as far as newer music. That's one of my favorite newer songs.
Sings it to Lily all the time too.
I do when I'm putting her to sleep. Yeah, and so I think if you want to do meditation for that, just you can find it, and learning what I've learned now and looking back, It had nothing to do with the gateway experience or the hemisync. Those were just the best self-hypnosis tools that I found for me, because that's all the gateway experience is. That's all meditation is. It's teaching yourself to hypnotize yourself to open things that are already there, but it gives you the permission to do that. And yes, Ashley, the hemisync is Robert Monroe's work. I already put that one up too, Mama. It is. It's Robert Monroe's gateway experience, the hemisync. Yeah, it's all from the same place. I'm going to take a couple breaths, guys, and we're going to jump in tonight. Rise up. Love it. Love it, guys.
Hi, Melvin.
We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. So here we go, guys. We're going to get ready to start. Kalina will be sharing the information. Now, we can't put the questions up on the screen unless you copy paste them on the YouTube and then highlight them. That's up to you, Mom. I don't know how. That'll probably give you a ton of extra work to do. No. If we do that,
yeah, that's what I'm doing. Oh, I see.
I've already got the questions up from the email that I sent to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to sign in to get them.
No, you don't.
Oh, I can just do the sent.
No. It's already open.
Oh.
Right. Shut that tab down. It's on the tab to the left.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's just I didn't want us taxing the
I didn't realize you had said it and then I forgot.
It's all good. That's why I was just letting you know.
Is that my water?
Probably. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's my water.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the big
you want
cold
some
one.
of this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna need some of the big
it's
cold
delicious.
water. Thank you.
Nothing like cold. Ooh,
that's real cold. Yeah, I got on my
cold
foot. That's
spring
cold.
water. It's going all over my knee.
All right, guys. Enough of our whiz tea banter. Let's channel. Let's get some of these questions. You guys didn't want to listen
to Aridif or Treb, did you?
Yeah, I know. You guys.
You know, you came here to hear us banter.
We got to be careful. That bump in the mic hits in their ears hard. Yeah, every time we do, and I just did it 3 times. So yeah.
We need to get those
we need to back
the shock mount kind of mount. You know what I'm talking
We've
about?
got a shock mount. That's what that is.
Well, I mean, like the fancy ones with the.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
It's called the above head maneuver.
That's not what we're talking about tonight. The above head maneuver. That sounds like non-YouTube related material.
Yeah, or a wrestling match. One of the two. All right, guys, let's do this. No more playing around. Let's go. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. And I can't speak for Kalina, but I can almost assure she feels the same way. I really want to tell you guys how much we love you, how much we appreciate you spending tonight with us. And those of you who didn't make it tonight, you get to hang out in this energy that we created here. And even though linearly you might not have been here with us, you're here with us in heart. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight. This is a big night I've been waiting for ever since I met Treb and found out what this day was and what this marked for us meant more to me, the more I understood about what it was. And the more that I integrated my understanding of it and seeing what we've all gone through in the last 2 years as a collective made me appreciate more. Conceptually, everything's beautiful at a distance. When you get up close to it, holy moly. Hang on tight, put your seatbelt on, and you guys made it. You're here with us, and that means the world. Thank you, guys.
I think it's short is yes for Tyler, correct?
I can't see.
Are you planning on doing galactic channelings?
Yeah, galactic channelings are coming back again. Absolutely. We're gonna bring different entities in. We've shifted up a lot of things. Part of it is in the way we do our professional stuff, and part of it's the way we do the stuff that we share with people for free. And a lot of that is going to kind of just go with the flow of how we've got it. Obviously, we have to take care of our professional stuff first so that our family has a place to live.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have food and resources.
And Lily has way too many toys as well
Diapers,
as Jeremy.
yeah, and all the good stuff. But yes, more attention in this last 4 to 6 months have been paid towards this aspect of our work, the free sharing, the consciousness integration for the collective with our material, and with the concepts that Treb and Aridif and Metatron and Nihal and all these other beings that come through share. But I don't have a plan for it. I'm going to step into this new year with the plans that I have and let everything else take form itself. Because I think that's more of who I am and who I haven't been for a long time, and part of me that I miss. And that's one of my excitements. Yeah, the Galactic channelings is, but so is bringing Metatron in more. And so is doing my radio show, getting back to being able to talk to everyone like I am now, but do it on a regular basis, and have my friends come in and have people I've never met who are interesting conceptually coming in. All those things are very important to me and are definitely going to be taking the front seat more than the rear. And yeah, so all that's coming back with a bang, and we'll see how it goes. You know, we might keep the way we have both professionally and the free sharing the exact same way that we plan to do it now, and it never changes, or it'll change in a month or a week after we get going. It just really depends, and I'm gonna let myself flow next year. Hearing what you guys want is also a big thing for us too. If you guys want to hear more Galactic channelings, then let us know when you make the comments on Facebook and YouTube, and
well, I've been also
joining our Discord, and do that, and let us know.
I've been working on automating our office in the back. We never really quite got it fully set up. So my goal is to get it like kind of automated so we can just go on there whenever. You know?
Plug and play. Yeah,
exactly. And so in the past we would just fiddle with lights, or not fiddle with lights if we didn't have the time. So, but I've been saving money up to get us some, and this is kind of a surprise. I shouldn't be selling too much with Rob, but to get us like just some new material, new mics and desks and chairs, maybe hopefully a little less squeaky.
Oh my god! Yeah. No matter what chair I get, no matter how quiet it starts, by the end of the time I use it, it squeaks.
Yeah. So, So I think you guys will see that. Well, I don't think. I know you guys will see that in 2022. Just making it easy breezy is what I'm going for, so that we can just get online whenever we feel the inspiration. So it's not always going to be like pre-planned out, because, you know, with our kiddos, you know, and anybody with parents, anybody with kids, maybe parents too, knows that sometimes you just have to be on the fly, and that's kind of that whole 5D energy anyway. So sometimes you guys will see that, boom, we're on, and there was no notification, you know. Well, there was a notification, a YouTube notification or Facebook or whatever. But yeah, guys, and we'll have more events and things, and because it's really exciting to us. And 2022 is going to be my year too. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'm going to be having some material out very soon. So if you want to see that, feel free to subscribe. Little shameless plug for myself.
Actually, yours is the third link in the description for everything is your YouTube page. The link to send in to get your questions answered was the first link. The second was the Discord. And the third was your YouTube channel.
Sweet.
So that everyone has a chance to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have some people who've been waiting for a long time for me to put stuff out, but
yeah, 2015, 2014, when we were doing the radio show. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm ready.
Aww.
I think Kalina's ready.
Thank you, mycelium. Look at that.
Oh.
We appreciate that.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I appreciate the donation. I really do. Thank you. It's a great energy shift in the exchange of that. And although we don't expect it, we do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, let's get this thing going. Let's move. Let us manifest with the best of them. Let's get Diffie and Treb in here. All right, guys, you asked the questions. Now you're getting some answers. Love ya. See you guys on the other side. Let's go.
I'm excited.
Greetings, all Solidif, DIF, and this is its spirit. We understand that all of you desire to co-create with your queries being answered in this day. Ourselves and Treb Bor Yit NE are here for that co-creation, but before that co-creation begins, we wish to express two simple constructs that we have always expressed through our co-creation with humans at this turn of the co-creation. The first, above and beyond all things that are expressed in this day, to know, to feel, and to perceive that you are loved in our perspective is of the utmost importance. Secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and within that same great excitement in which we co-create with you, singularly in our co-creation, individually with all of you, and of course, co-creatively with the collective form of consciousness that all of you and ourselves create this day. Thirdly, we wish to greet you as well, Kalina.
Thank you, Aridif. Greetings. Thank you for being here. You are loved and we loved you. We
Yes,
love you.
of course, and not only are you loved, not only are all of you loved, but we love you as well. You may begin your queries at your leisure.
Absolutely. 1 second. This thing is, there it is. All right. So our first question we have from Daniel M. When is it likely to see the good guys winning on a mass scale?
Yes, of course. This greatly depends upon who you perceive as that of the good guys. Now, we understand from your own perspective, you perceive that co-creator collective consciousness being suppressed by those that hold power in a greater way, and that suppression leads to the suffering of those that are co-creating from an independent and human level. And of course, there are entities that are interacting that portion of your co-creator collective consciousness with you. There are those who intentionally suppress those that are beneath them from their own perspective, and of course utilize their own power to benefit the structure of creation in the world from their perspective, what they perceive as better for them, all that is better for all. Part of that system of co-creation is a part of those not only who desire to co-create with it, but those who do not desire, or who are not willingly and knowingly co-creating that part of the collective energy. Now, we have shared previously the simple way to freedom for all humans who desire to have freedom and to be free under those that would hold a suppressive format of consciousness, thought, laws, or decrees, that simply exonerating yourself from the systems in which they hold that power is important. This means all of you who do not care for the GMO styles of food or for the pesticides that are sprayed upon your plants to start growing your own food. Now, we understand this is not feasible for many humans who do not have land, knowledge, whereabouts, or the concerns in order to do so. But if you were to co-create with those that could and do and desire to, then of course the form of community would start, and all who desired that co-created means could pool the resources and create that food which is not genetically modified or does not have the pesticides that they do not desire upon their food. This is one format of releasing. Secondly, your governmental systems in this time are working through their own portion of the co-created form. We understand Rob's belief upon this energy. We understand many humans' beliefs upon this construct. It is either the demonization of the whole of your government structures or the demonization of approximately 1/3 to half of your governmental systems in order to project that which is not well, which is not created extremely for the benefit of the human, or who does not resonate with the way in which it is being co-created, and therefore project the form of negativity upon those humans. And of course, we understand and also resonate with the construct that many humans who work in the system have their own desires and means at the forefront of their own creations, just as all of you do individually with your families. And that system creates hardships upon other humans. But the recognition that the system at whole is not a simple projection of consciousness from how you perceive evil and good, and that many humans that are working the system are doing what they feel is best for all humans, or doing what they can from their own perspective within the confines of how they have, with all of the regulations and rules to create the best systems possible for many humans. And still, it is a system that is highly broken in multiple varieties. All of you can agree in your perspective that either the entirety of the system or approximately half or less of the systems are broken. Those of you who identify with the constructs of governments being entirely inept or corrupt, of course, can see the entirety of the government system being negative or nil or non-manageable in that system. And those of you who see as a liberal or conservative can perceive the other half being the problem of that government. But the system of government itself is also the projection of the negative perspectives from the humans who look upon that same government. We are not saying that you should simply perceive it as good and it shall be good, but what we are perceiving, if you perceive yourself as a good person, try to implement yourself into the level and positions of power that is held. Now we understand the construct of community as being one that is great excitement for both Rob, Kalina, and many of you within the greater form of community, as it were, in your co-created collective format. And in that energy, if all of you were to go to the city, the county, the township, the state, the providence, the territory in which you exist, and take on the most local form of government, you can make a direct impact upon all of the humans that exist near you. And the further that you implement those rules that benefit more and not less, the more power that humans would give to you. And then, if you were to go long enough in that position, you could apply for a greater position and do the same. Now, through that system, will that system corrupt yourself, or will you change the system? This is a second way for you to go through that construct. The third and final way is to start implementing the voice at such the great degree that no human who holds office, position of power, or the capacity to change rules and regulations that does not, will have such an immense pressure upon them, whether financially or for their next job position, that they will bend to the will of the human, reminding yourself that even the largest governmental system still is only one within millions of human beings. Your United States region, 380 million human beings that live in this collective construct, and yet there are less than 500 entities that run your governmental system. Mathematically, it is an infinitesimal speck of consciousness that rules over the greater degree, and if all humans work together to demand what is theirs correctly, then of course, but the system that is in place has already split, divided that consciousness quite well by only having certain areas overlap, and those areas often do not contest their rule of that regency. So working together by understanding the positions of your neighbors, the ones that you cannot resonate with or that you cannot agree with, and find a place in which does resonate in the central core of communication in order for voices to be united. We have perceived that many humans do not care for the state of consciousness that is around them at any given time with their governmental systems, and they will raise their voice for one day, for 1 week, for 1 month, until it no longer holds value to that personal group or the greater collective. And then small changes can be made, but will revert yet quickly. If you were to stay there in great numbers and in great voice, they could not ignore the changes that would be required. We share a great deal upon these subjects, but this can get all of you started, especially in time for the year that is the new year for all of you. And we thank you for this.
Thank you so much. All right, so this is kind of a continuation, I think, of the theme. Malik said, as I understood it, you said the last time that you spoke through Rob that we will no longer be at the mercy of the masses to limit or agree on our own creations. Can you give an example of how the transition from third to fourth dimensional experience will manifest for us as creators and co-creator? Much love and appreciation.
Yes, of course. When you are working with the collective consciousness at this moment, the collective format holds that precipice of energy within yourself. And for the example, if you desire to work within manifesting meditation to astral project, But all of the humans that are around you believe that it is nonsense. All of the people that are around you are connecting to religious ideologies which forbade an astral projection as part of demonology, or part of a construct in which only Satanist or devil worshippers would utilize. That energy not only weighs upon your own heart and own mind and own conscious construct, but also holds the vibration of your own energy in co-creation, manifestation, to be limited to that localized area. But in this moment, as you shift forward from fourth density, the more emphasis that you are placing on your personal manifestation and desires, the more that energy will not affect you. The more energy that you place upon action, upon those excitements, the less that external energies will come into contact with yours and produce a negative or resistant forms of effect. Simply by yourself acknowledging the component of your consciousness that is an individual construct that is placed within collective format for the benefit of all, then your understanding and knowing that to learn astral projection is not simply an act of yourself and personal freedom, but is a gift that is given out to all of those around you that are especially within your localized grid connective area, that you are reproducing that energy externally and giving the gift from your crown chakra out redistributed 1/8 billionth of a time to every human possible. That understanding and knowing of your place in that collective, what effects that your own consciousness can hold if you perceive that power within it, and your own wherewithal to manifest through others' resistances and to place your act of excitement and act upon that energy despite the resistance around you. This is your new manifestational quality of fourth density consciousness. That is the new paradigm of energy in your collective. But it must come from that greater place of excitement and be within the realm of manifesting for yourself as well as knowing the effect of others. Even if you are doing this selfishly, even if you think of no other but yourself and only desire to astral project so that you can find information more easily to have advantage over other humans, if you still understand your place in the collective energy and feel that excitement and draw, then of course you can utilize that energy more specifically for yourself as you work forward as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
So of course.
I want to post this. Okay. It takes me a while to post this. Let's see. Okay, so Mr. Singh says, when are we likely to discover extraterrestrial life? It seems like we've been building up to this for the last few years.
Yes, as a part of a collective, it has already come into fruition multiple decades ago. The first human that physically interacted with extraterrestrial being or extra-dimensional was hundreds of thousands of years ago from your modern human, 2 million years ago from the Anunnaki formed early human, or that most humans would believe extremely prehistoric formed humans, with a misunderstanding of your own nature and history as a planet. But in your modern day version of that energy, it comes from a part of that collective energy that desires to know that greater truth. And of course, we understand many humans' concerns that the energy of transparency that would be given by the greater media or those that are in power would be that is less empowering or less useful for that greater collective because it is hidden behind layers of truth or layers of propaganda that they may spin upon this construct. We understand your concerns there, but the energy of their own release of that information, even without having your greatest interest, still works within that collective form that we have just spoken of. It goes into the ether of the greater collective, and each one of you manifesting upon that certain individual level, and also having your connection to other humans. Just as before, the information will go out, but unlike before, the energy will be redistributed evenly and work with that level of excitement to put more of the information and energy out. Those who are open to being receptive to the construct are already aware. Those who are at that very level bridge that is central between belief and non-belief, who are sitting upon the fence, as you would call this, are waiting for their excuse to find their yes or no. And the more times that it is put into the collective, the more human thoughts that focus upon that construct, the more likely those who are upon that fence will gravitate towards that which is being shown, which is being proven, and which is being spoken of in the greatest of terms in positive means rather than that of negative means. And of course, you see the counterbalance of this construct with those scientists and astronomers that will say, we must be careful on who we interact with. The destruction of our planet may depend upon us sending signals to our galactic neighbors. But of course, in the end, there's always that admission from even those that are specialists in these areas, that those that are out there are more unknown to the human construct, and this is why you call them alien. For all that they are, where they are greatly and highly positive beings, that one construct and sentence is enough to unlock those who truly desire benevolent forms of co-creation outside of earthly means. That is enough to unlock the construct of interchanging your own consciousness of human-to-human co-creation and bring disclosure in the way that you desire, not that others who are in charge desire, not that those who run media or propaganda to desire. Each of you now have your chance and opportunity to personally work with your own guides and to meet them upon astral states, to meet them through meditative states, to meet them through channeled states. And some of you who have focused your excitement greatly upon meeting those same beings in physical state have afforded the physical exchange and opportunity also to do this. The more humans that work on the internal integrative co-creation between their self and extra-dimensional beings will find the collective doing more of this as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Arda.
Yes, of course.
It's taking a while to post.
Yes, we understand.
So this comes from Christy, and as for either you or Treb to answer, what is the single most significant aspect of the winter solstice?
Yes, of course, as you are looking at the winter solstice, this is only one portion of what this day and this time is. Of course, all of you who live in your northern hemisphere are going through your winter solstice at this moment. Those of you who live below that equatorial line are going through your summer solstice at this moment. The winter solstice specifically will be dependent upon which portion of the earth feels that construct. What is important of this solstice, whether it be winter or summer, if you are speaking of your December and 21st, because in the northern region of the earth collective form and the darkness that is of length of that day, this represents what is going forward. So as you are perceiving your winter solstice in the north regions, it represents that energy of your future, of the energy that goes forward, the significance of that long and dark portion of that day energetically shows you that nothing will get darker at that time. It is an energetic co-creative means for the yearly cycle of that in the northern hemisphere. And in the southern hemisphere, even though it is a summer solstice, the one in December still works with a conscious construct of that which goes forward, but pulls from a different energy. Because it is that southern region, it works more so from what is behind you. So it is learning from your past in order to implement a better future, a better building of that conscious energy. And because the sun is at its greatest in this day in December, in the southern hemisphere, it gives that light opportunity to grow and expand further from the internal portions, because it will not reflect it externally, as it is the highest level of light that you are able to receive upon your planet in that region for that entire year. So represent of energy each year represents these constructs undertake your local yearly cycles, your great 12-year cycles, your larger 30 and 39 and 33-year cycles, and all of the greater cycles of 144, 12,000, etc., and work with the different consciousness from each of these. And that represents each person connecting with that energy a different outcome, depending upon how their own intuitive self perceives that energy. It affects all of you greatly differently. And with knowing the confines in which the constructs of your own consciousness can work with that unlimited portion of your non-physical consciousness and the less resistant form of the greater earth collective consciousness, it gives all of you the opportunity for the greater reflection, how to take your past and learn from it, or how to build the new future from the point that you are in the darkest places that you are as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you. Before I post the next question, I wanted to point out that we had people send in questions prior. We had like 56 questions, so I'm not going to be taking any of the newer ones. So, but we are going to be having more free open forums. So, hang tight with your questions, and we'll try to get them in next time. So, all right, guys. So let me post this next one. Okay, I thought this was interesting, and this is coming from an anonymous person. So, why are ETs happy to prevent nuclear war, but not genetic manipulation and murder? How is that line drawn? Thank you.
Yes, of course, this is greatly dependent upon what race you are speaking of. Extraterrestrials, from your perspective, are not moving in concert altogether within the co-creation of the greater reflective. There are those of us who are type 1s who will do neither of these things, who will communicate with you because you are part of our own consciousness and we perceive you as a part of our own consciousness. Therefore, speaking and learning and expanding together is not prohibited. But if you are desiring to create a nuclear war for yourself, then of course, that would be a creation for the Earth to work with. Yet other races that are type 2 in variety, those that are highly benevolent in nature, those who are highly malevolent in nature, all have their own different reasons for engaging and interacting with human consciousness. Some of them work on the collective level, such as those that disengage all nuclear weapons. Some of those work in hybridization or abduction programs, which of course affect only a small percentage of your entire population. And then there are those who work behind the scenes to create more disconnection, fear, negativity, as for them to have a feeding of their own energy to sustain themselves from having to go into the next incarnation cycle. And you have all of those that are between. Those that are working to disengage bombs, these entities, from our own perspective, are type 2, but within the 80 to 95% benevolency. They are, to your own perspective, older siblings of yours watching out for your best interest. But when you are working to do something that you have created, their own perspective is, no, you do not know better than us, and we will stop what you are doing, such as destroying yourselves with nuclear weapons. Those that are in the mid-range of co-creation, those that in our own perspective are close to the mid-level of benevolency and mid-level of malevolency, such as those that are the Zeta Reticuli grey beings who are extraordinarily neutral. These entities work with humans, abducting or co-creating, depending upon your own perspective, and working through hybridization programs. And these beings do not have a central care for the feelings of your emotions in that way, but also try to work on a soul level of knowledge, knowing that your higher soul perspective may agree with the co-creation, even if the human counterpart and the lower fractal does not. Not caring if there are harms or hardships that come to the lower fractal that did not know, simply only knowing that the higher fractal consciousness allowed a co-creation. Not caring for any portion of the co-creation but the children that sustain their own race and their own genetics, as they no longer could do so themselves. And then there are the most malevolent forms of consciousness, most beings that humans call reptilians or draconians or earth reptilians. All of these beings have their own personal reasons, but still hold multiple systems of planetary consciousnesses at levels of fear and disconnection, working to grow fear in human consciousness in order to sustain their own incarnation cycle. In their own perspective, if they were to leave sixth density and graduate, they would leave physical reality. They are highly attached to their physical reality. They desire to be reptilian at the cost of whatever it would be that they desire, and knowing that it creates and sows discord into a great number of human consciousnesses, of humanoid consciousnesses, of even other reptilian consciousness. That does not matter. What matters is that in their own mind, it is justified so that they do not need to leave. These are all highly different perspectives, all of them with their own personal agenda. Even our own consciousness holds that agenda of desiring to grow the collective and co-creating with all parts of it. The humanoids that protect humans also with their own agenda, feeling as if they must protect you. Those that are in the center, feeling their own agenda as they must grow their own race and protect their genetics, and the draconians feeling that in order to sustain their own lives, they must create some form of energy. And the easiest energy to work with is, of course, that fear for them. All of them feel justified in their actions, just as each human may perpetuate war against one another with justifications of their own. It is not something that is all beings that agree that this may or must occur with humans. The galactic collective form of consciousness is just as divided as Earth, because all of us live in an entire universe with duality. The difference between those that are type 1 and those that are type 2, the type 2s enjoy the experience of that on some level in order to create the feelings of duality more, while those of us that are type 1 feel more comfortable within one neutral vibration, one that does not need to go into polarity in one form or another. It is not that we do not see value in going to the spectrum. It is that we do not feel we need it in our own experience. But for some consultation, we will share with you that we see extreme value from the souls that do choose to go through this, as you are both extremely brave, and also we understand the difficulties that come with that growth. We understand the difficulties that you must face in interacting with the polarity. And we are not immune to co-creating with both spectrums upon that polarity, but we are immune from our systems of energy being co-created at a level where it changes the core essence of ourselves, the beautiful construct of the universe. A draconian being may one day feel as if great love in their heart is most important, and love all humans with a love that is so great you could not recognize it to be draconian from the human perspective of what draconians are. And that same benevolent Pleiadian being who turns off your nuclear weapons could one day say, I am tired of working with these ignorant humans that know nothing, and allow the next nuclear explosion to occur. All of these beings within duality are able to have a vibration change in themselves that is equivalent to the vibration which they co-create with. Now that you are in that fourth density level and vibration, you're starting to build with that lower form of that greater power as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes, of course.
One second. It looks like someone needs to go in timeout. Okay. So speaking of reptilians, we have a fancy, sweet reptilian we want to talk to you by the name of Treb Bor Yit NE. And it's also a question about reptilians. We can
Yes,
talk
of course.
about it a little bit.
One moment, we will connect you. Good evening, Kalina.
Good evening, Treb Bor Yit NE.
Yes, it is a very good evening and very exciting as well.
It sure is, Treb. We love you so much.
Yes, and we love you as well.
So we have a question from Swasti, who says, Hi, Treb. How did my reptilian lifetimes assist me in my earthly experience? And I forgot to post this 1 second, guys. You got the question. The question will be up just a second, guys.
Yes. If you are looking at each lifetime that you have connected with your own reptilian energy, and even if you look at the times where you deeply loved and connected with reptilian energy in yourself, what you can find is that you've taken many of those positive attitudes and energies that come from the archetype of reptilian consciousnesses and started using this more as an integrated part of your human experience, because humans have all of the different archetypes of energy, of humanoids and avians and reptilians and aquatic beings. You have that great opportunity to shift into that energy of all of those 12 different DNA portions. And because your archetype holds a connection to the past energy of reptilian lifetimes, the energy of strength, the energy of that pride that you have for your own self and doing good things and helping others becomes more dominant in your own presence, even when it is hard to connect with that energy of protecting yourself from others who would not have nice thoughts or nice meanings or nice intentions for you. It gives you a better connection to be able to find that strength within you. And the energy of the intellect and its ability to either connect with the heart or not connect with the heart, depending on the purpose that you need the mind for at that moment, is also very famously a reptilian archetypal energy that most humans are not aware, because most humans hold a perspective that reptilians do not connect to the heart energy. It is the misunderstanding of that energy that doesn't allow to see that many humans hold that reptilian archetype, that give you the opportunities and chances to really connect with your own heart as you are exploring a thought, or disconnect the heart altogether and think only with a conscious mind energy. And knowing that this difference is something that you have, that you can use anytime that you desire, can help you when you are working with very dense problems where emotions that are heart-centered are extremely important and very helpful, or dangerous situations when you are in an even balance of emotion and only need the mind and need the mind quickly. It gives you a great benefit and a great strength to use for these times as well.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up something on Facebook. For those of you coming in, I have a comment from Brad. Like we said in our last video, Brad, the questions were taken in format. We have like 56 questions. So, and most people are on YouTube, and there's tons of people on YouTube. So it's not that we're trying to ignore you. It's that you had to send a question ahead of time. We are going to be having more free open forums as well. So maybe try at the next one, and you'll be able to send it in then. It's too hard for me to chase down questions that are moving, especially on YouTube. And you're right, there aren't as many people on Facebook, but it would be unfair of me to ask questions when there are people who've actually asked their questions days prior. So you're not being ignored. Just wanted to point that out so you guys don't feel ignored. Okay. Thank you so much, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome as well.
I think I saw another one for you. 1 second. I have one that I think you'll enjoy from Aaron.
Yes.
So Aaron says, what is a word or affirmation that's most effective to remind a human being to be present in the now and loving moment? Thank you.
Yes. The word that is most effective for most humans, if you are translating that energy to some English equivalent, is now. The actual word now only has one meaning. It only means that it is this moment, that it is this exact moment. And if you work through other words that are similar, such as present or such as moment, you can also add words to that energy and create a new different moment that is in your past or that is in your different version. But even if you say that this is another now, or this is a new now, or this is a past now, it would not connect with the consciousnesses of humans to abbreviate their own understanding of that word now and connect the energy. But if you're desiring more than the simple admission of the now moment, of more than just a simple recognizing that now is a word that takes you to the now, an energy that you can add for two words that connect with that energy is me now, because this will take you to where you are in that now moment. And even though your end goal is to take you into a place of your heart, and take you to a great loving place within yourself. If you were to say love now, a heart now, connect now, all of these can be greatly manipulated by your own mental energy, by your own thought process, or even your own emotional state. But if you say me now, it is a recognition for you to recognize yourself. It is demanding your own attention in that moment. And when you demand your own attention in that moment, then you can postulate the idea, now that I am demanding my own energy in this moment, what in fact would I do this for? What reason do I have to call myself in this moment? And the answer will always be because we desired to find one word that could bring us into our state of love in this moment. Instead, we found two, and side thought process, because human minds are much more complicated in the way that they connect and work than this. And even if you abbreviate all of it to simply now, the energy of how you feel must be acknowledged. The energy of how you connect with how you feel in that moment and how you think in that moment would also have to be acknowledged within that moment. But also the energy of connecting with yourself for a purpose and reason, all of it would come right back to asking all of those same questions. So even if it is 2 words followed by a thought which asks a question which receives an answer, it is the quickest way that we can think, besides your 10-step to belief system, where you only need to look at your trinket and know it is time to readjust and recenter yourself to love. With those 2 concepts equally usable and important, we would say that this is the greatest way to find yourself in that now with love as well.
Thank you so much, Trevi.
Yes, you are very welcome.
All right, so question for you. We're gonna post this. Sorry, having to deal with some trolls. Always a delight. All right, so Luke says, my question for Aridif, my question is for Aridif.
Yes, one moment, we will connect him as well. We are back without hesitation or delay again. This is Aridif.
Thank you, Dippy.
Yes, cool.
So Luke has a question for you, and he says, how exactly is the Earth going to restore the harmony of her natural systems? Thank you to Rob, and thank you to Aridif.
Yes, of course. First of all, as you perceive natural system and realignment, these are all constructs which allows you to perceive your own version of what you believe natural balanced state is. The construct of the earth, in recognition to its own natural state first, is implied that earth itself is an entity separate from those that inhabit it. But the construct is quite the opposite in its application of consciousness, mechanics of energy that belong to that collective consciousness in order for it to be a part of any co-creative means or systems, meaning that if you look at the earth, it is in balance in this moment. It is in balance through imbalance. And what we mean by this is the greater earth as consciousness is only the collective of all beings that exist upon the earth at that moment. The earth that you have in the year 1800 was a collective version of all of the beings that inhabited the earth at that moment. The earth throughout linear time, as you perceive it, is a full conglomerate, collaboration, co-creation of all beings that existed upon earth from the moment of its creation as rocks gathering together through gravity in your spatial field and growing to what it is you know now and dying at the end of its own cycle. So in that way, Earth is always in balance, even if it is destroyed through human activity and pollution, nuclear war, diseases. Many times upon your Earth collective, there have been great amounts of beings that are wiped off the planet's face at any given moment. Extinction events as you perceive it in your history. What that was the beings upon the planet becoming so imbalanced as a whole that, of course, the Earth had to adapt to that energy and had to reflect what was occurring upon all the beings within. And when planets go into balance and imbalance as a planetary body, it is not due to their own expression. It is due to the expression of the individual consciousnesses. Now, we understand that frightens the hell out of many of you, because the construct of your race as humans in this moment is highly imbalanced. But it is also the recognition that must occur through your weather patterns that the Earth works with imbalance in different ways. Right now, you are experiencing the Earth collective going through different patterns of weather. You have experienced an outbreak pandemic from the perspective of energy, of the viral capacity going round, which is also a reflection of the beings upon Earth collective. The manifestation of these energies are all monitoring the systems of balance and imbalance within. If you desire for the Earth to come into balance, all of the humans and all of the animals must also go into balance. The thing about Earth that is not known by many human beings in this time of your cycle is that the Earth is used to high levels of imbalance. Go to your nature, watch any animal in its wild capacity, and you will see that even if you erase all humans, that the Earth is not truly in balance in the way that you would perceive or think that it should be. There are animals that kill one another. There are insects that eat upon animals. There are digestive constructs within your bacteria that break down dead animals and plants. There are chemical compounds that destroy bacteria. There are cycles of water, drying, earth, vibrations that are earthquakes, tornadoes, activities. All of this still would exist without human construct. Earth was born into a state of balance and grew out of balance in the way that you would perceive harmony or no vibrational differences. But even at the level that you understand and know it, Earth started with imbalance. Earth was a place where a collective consciousness of oversouls gathered together and said, we are the 144,000 oversouls that desire to create and then create the twin souls for 288,000, and said we will take our twin soul mechanism with our oversoul consciousness and we will create that experience of our own energy going through multiple forms of spectral vibrations. And so they integrated into that very first particle of dust and rock and ice and begin to cluster as a planet. The soul's intention is what created the parameters of availability for the planet. You are still well within your parameter of spectral vibration. You are still well within the pattern of opposite vibrational frequencies that are played out throughout Earth Collective. This is why we have shared with all humans that you are entering Earth Collective consciousness, knowing that you will work through spectral vibrations vastly different from one another. And this will give you that ride of your life as you would express. This is what creates that school system of learning on Earth as the advanced class of vibrational spectrum differential. And this is what gives you a large level of growth for the soul level at small intervals. Many of our own race can live for thousands of years and tens of thousands of years and still hold the lessons that Earth humans can work within a 90-year period or a 20-year period if experience was vibrationally wild, different, enough from birth to death in that life. So it is the understanding first that balance. If you desire to perceive a better balance in Earth, you have to find the better balance in yourself. Then you will start being able to consequently see different layers of balance that you did not notice that was there. Then start acting on your excitements to create more balance, and you'll start seeing more balance created around you. But if you expect to see a greater balance, it only comes when Earth itself will come at that balance as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Arda.
Yes, of course.
And just a little warning to some of you guys. If you are a troll, I will just block you at this point. It's your choice. We're open and loving, but we're not going to take that energy right now. This needs to be a safe space for people to come and share, and it's going to be loving. So I will not hesitate to block you. The rest of you, love you. Just wanted to make that announcement. All right, so we have, this one looks like it's anonymous. So it says, this person says, "Hi, Rob, Treb, and Aridif. For the past couple of months, I have been seeing UFOs, and they always flash me to say hi, I think. I was wondering if there is a way for me to communicate with the pilots, passengers, and those UFOs. Thank you."
Yes, of course. First, greetings as well. Secondly, you are already communicating with them. When you perceive them and you see this flash, you ultimately understand and know it is co-creation with beings, of opening that energy of collaboration and co-creation with a consciousness outside of yourself that is perceived as an extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial being. By this, simply communication is enough. If you desire to express more than in that moment, if you are able to compose that excitement into a constructive thought pattern that can be shared telepathically, they are able to hear you. Even if they are not a highly psychic but a highly technological race, they will still be able to understand the brainwave patterns and the chemical interactive processes through your body, which will let them know the general construct of what you are going through emotionally and mentally. Simply by thinking the thought, projecting the idea, they are either able to receive that through their technology in direct transmission of word-to-word understanding from their own either telepathic or spoken language, through translation, whether it be technological or vibrational. They will truly understand both the theme or exactly what it is you are trying to convey. And if you work with your own telepathy, you will be able to receive. Now we understand. You perceive that in moments you can have that insight. In certain moments you can even receive certain downloads, information, or direct communication. But it is possible all of the time for you. You have expressed that contact with these entities excites you. That is why it is coming to yourself. You could not perceive these entities unless you are psychically open enough to receive the message that they share with you. Now be aware that as they share their own information, this can be a spectrum of different forms, beings, some that may come across very strong to you, very dominantly to you, or ones that feel as if they are extremely light, carefree, and loving. But the energies that are co-created with the constructs of energy internally will always be that balance of energy. If they are flashing, signing for you, they do not mean you harm. If they were entities that you perceive as negative, they would not co-create with you in such ways. That construct of energy allows you to understand whether they are fairly malevolent or highly benevolent beings. They intentionally have no harm in mind for you and are opening this form of communication in order to open up that very next layer as well. Play with that energy without fear. Open yourself to receiving and understand that reception may not be direct word-for-word transfer of what they are trying to share with you. But if you open your emotional body as well, you can receive the sensation of emotion that they are sending you as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes, of course. Yes, now they should be able to hear you.
Can you guys hear us now?
If the microphone is unmuted within Rob's facial square.
Yeah, let me cut this down. Can you guys hear now? Give me a moment. I'm getting mixed. Sorry, guys. My fingers spasm and hit the the back button.
Yes, of course.
I'm hearing some yes and some no. Okay, good. It looks like the sound's picking up for everybody. Good, good. Sorry about that, guys. My finger totally spasmed and I hit some back button. I didn't know. Rob's got a very fancy mouse. So it has all these protrusions and I hit something. All right, so the question is from Anonymous. Hi, Rob, Treb, and Aridif. For the past couple of months, I've been seeing UFOs, and they always flash to me to say, wait, did you just answer this?
Yes, of course.
Did.
Yes.
You did answer this.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so let me go to the questions. Just FYI, guys, I know some of you guys are coming in and out, but as per our last broadcast, we actually had a form for anybody that wanted to ask a question to fill out before this event. So we're not taking any live questions, and I understand the frustration, but it's hard for me to just chase down, go on a wild goose chase with questions, especially on YouTube. So I've had quite a bit of frustration thrown at me, but you know, it is what it is. And we will be having some future open forums. So, and they're free open forums. So, okay, let me find where the next question is. We asked that. This one's interesting. I'm going to This one up here. I think this one was the next one. All right, so Tristan asks, I'm asking Aridif if he can comment on the Council of Saturn. Who are the members and how does the council operate? Have you heard of these guys?
Yes, first of all, many humans understand Saturn to be a multitude of different vibrational frequencies, dealing from a matrix that traps the souls of humans into a never-ending cycle and repetition of reincarnation, all of the way to the great kings of that which are the ancient Egyptians, who once were come from Saturn in co-creative forms, but are small portions of energy that are interlaced throughout your history that show the frequency that is more true than not, and those that are completely out of misunderstandings and misalignments. First of all, there are existing beings that exist near and in the Saturn region of your time-space. These beings are non-physical collective consciousness. These beings also exist as what humans would perceive as a malevolent vibration, but these beings do not exist in a physical body, therefore they cannot hold malevolency. Malevolency that comes from the physical body entering the reality of that which is considered physical reality, which is where the spectral vibration of duality exists. Duality does not exist outside of the physical plane or realm. Now, if you are looking at those archetypes of consciousness that most humans perceive evil to expend from, that of Satan or the devil, these are archetypes of consciousness that show the negative polarity of the monotheistic religion construct. Yet, if you look at the construct of all of the energy that is embedded with the constructs known as Samael or the constructs known as Lucifer, they have different meaning to the vibration of different humans. Some that see Lucifer only as the light bearer, being equivalent to that of Jesus. Others seeing Archangel Samael as the reliever of those in pain. So there's a vibrational spectrum still within that is only assigned as evil. Now, if you are looking at the construct in greater terms, and if you are looking at the entities that once existed physically, of course, they were highly malevolent beings, but in their non-physical, they still hold the mask that is of evil consciousness or evil concepts embedded within consciousness. There's no soul trap that they have created that last or exist. The reincarnation in the Earth cycle is as natural as reincarnation in most of the universal construct. Reincarnation is not a punishment or a trap. It is simply one tool of many in which a soul can grow and learn different things. Humans, through the design of their own earthly-based growth, use reincarnation much more frequently than other races, utilizing the construct of reincarnation every 100 or 200 or 300 years, and sometimes even 10 years after death or less. This is so that you are able to get as much of the earth vibration into your soul essence as possible. And with earth having that vibrational spectral frequency that is so large, of course you would need to reincarnate frequently in order to have all taste of earth life. The beings that exist in Saturn at a non-physical level are part of its own collective consciousness, just as those that are no longer physically inhabiting the Kon-Ki or the Atlanteans or Lumerians or Lumanians still exist in Earth collective consciousness. those that are Venusian in co-creation with Arcturians that still exist both in Venus and Earth vibration, although they are non-physical. This is an essence of a race that physically incarnated as negative and evil beings that still exist in Saturn. Now there are many races that visit through Saturn and through the rest of the entirety of your solar system. And of course, a larger number of these entities are what humans would perceive mid-range malevolent to high-range malevolent, as most entities in your solar system tend to reflect that of more neutral to more negative vibrational frequency. That is part of your solar system collective, and is reflected well through your Earth environmental collective of your long-term history. To understand that those that physically interact with Saturn at this time are not permanent residents, and they are not setting up soul traps in that way. Those that are in any form of council that work with Saturn are not, in fact, co-creating at a level of overpowering humans or watching over humans. It is simply they that are interacting with the grey beings, the Zeta Reticuli, or Earth-based or draconian reptilian consciousnesses, or even advanced forms of humanoids that are Pleiadian, etc. All of the entities that work in this solar system collective region of your time space, of course, will work with multiple different races in order to be a part or around the Earth collective to start with as well. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Arda.
Yes, of course.
And I noticed Rob's body seems to be getting a little tired.
Yes, of course.
How many more questions do you feel?
We will take 2 to 3 queries before disconnecting.
Great. All right, so post this next one. So Jesse says, hi, Aridif. The other night I was at my computer. By the way, this has happened to me a lot, Jesse, too. And I heard, hey, in a loud whisper on my left rear side. Jumped out of my seat, checked the house. No one was there. Who was it? Why don't they keep talking? Thank you and blessings.
Yes, of course. This entity was a disincarnate human being. This entity had finally found a way to manifest its energy into the physical realm enough to communicate in that moment. Now, we will share with you human beings that often associate themselves with their physical bodies so deeply that they disconnect forms of the non-physical, often try to stay in the physical form of reality even after death, meaning that they realize they have not incarnated in the body any longer, that they are not physically focused in their own body. So they will utilize the external energy in your layer of reality and work in that construct. Remember that between yourself at 4th density and between 5th density are the infinite layers of densities between. We often utilize the numeralization of the 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3 as 1/10 percentiles, but there are many more than this that are involved in the part of that co-creation. Most of these humans who are addicted to living physically in a body are working at level 4.01 or 4.02, meaning they are as close to that layer of physical reality as possible. They utilize your heat energy, and that is why you feel cold. They utilize your light energy or UV energy. That is why they appear shadow. They utilize the energy of the X-ray version of energy that exists throughout the entirety of the universe, and that is why they appear iridescent. And these entities are simply trying to create enough energy from that physical layer to cross boundaries and communicate more. This entity has a message to share, but it is not with someone who you know or can relate to, nor is this human one that you know. It is an entity who is within a 30-kilometer region of your area, had died and stayed within that region, and is simply trying to communicate to those that are still living, even though multiple decades have passed since that time. We thank you for this.
Thank you.
This will be our last query for this day.
The next one?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull it back up. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to. I was answering some questions.
Yes, we understand.
Where was the next one? Where'd it go? Oh, that one slipped. Maybe it. Well, this was the next one. Okay. All right. Final question comes from Rick. And it says, why was duality ever created?
Yes, duality exists because physical reality exists. For so consciousness who desires to understand something more than all-knowing and all-connection must create something in which is disconnected. And the only way to have a disconnection format is to have duality and spectrum. Spectrum of that which is nearly or fully connected and that which is fully not connected. And we use connection as that force, energy, and vibration that links that energy from one path to another, because connection is the only measurement in which you can use to separate your physical body from that which is non-physical, to separate that energy of consciousness from a living to a non-living, or to take away physical reality and place it with non-physical. Non-physical reality is the default consciousness for the universal energy. And the universe, and this universe, desired to experience all of the themes, all of the rules and regulations that you understand scientifically as a universe itself, and then desired the co-creation between knowing and not knowing. And that is how this universe was born. That is how physical reality in this universe was born. And it is different in all universes. Others utilize different formats. They are all connected in some universes, but disconnect vision or hearing. Some universes hold none of these vibrational understandings or components or frequencies, and simply experience either that which is considered light or that which is considered dark phonetically, energetically, visually, contractually. All of those different proposals for the constructs that separate one that is and one that is not, one that is blue and one that is red. It does not matter. There are universes that only desire two options, and you can only live as one of those two options. This is an advanced universe that in the spectrum of universes that we have been able to perceive and universes that we know others have perceived, between the complexity and nature of 1 and 10, 1 being the binary universe of yes and no, simply one or the other, or the spectral vibration of duality, which is similar but expansive, or universes so complex there are thousands of points of contention, possibilities, and outcomes. Then our own universe, for the complexity of overall universes, is approximately 2.2 to 2.3 out of 10. But if you compare it in duality-formed universes, we are approximately 8.7 out of 10. So this shows you that the variance
On the ad stream.
Yes.
Got you. It should be coming back soon.
Yes.
Do you remember where you were? I'll let
Yes,
them know.
of course.
Can you guys hear us again? Let us know when you guys can hear. You should be able to hear now.
Yes. As the energy of the co-creation, whether it is vibration, that is one or the other, or the spectrum itself, the vibrational frequency is a choice of connection or disconnection at its root at all levels. Connection to the construct that it outcries and plays, or a disconnection from the things in which previously were connected, and all non-physical consciousness exist with all knowing, all understanding, and all experiencing, whether it be a universal consciousness or a multiversal consciousness. The existence for this universe is extremely complex in the way of the duality systems, yet very simple in comparative to the constructs that are allowed to play out in multiversal unit and multiversal spectrum of experiential quality as well. We wish to express to all of you that through our interactions in this day, our co-creation with our own excitement and yours, also there's a learning component for you as well as there is ourselves. And what we mean is that as you are asking queries and questions in which you have never asked us about yourself or about the greater universe, those are parts of your own consciousness that you have never dived into personally or deeply. In the same way, we perceive our own consciousness as it interacts with yours, showing ourselves the parts of our own consciousness that we have never perceived previously. Because you are us and we are you as well. We wish to express to all of you that it is our great pleasure working and co-creating with you. We congratulate all of you for your growth. And of course, we thank you for our own as well. We will bid you all adieu for this evening.
Thank you, Arda.
Yes, of course. Adieu to all of you, and you are loved. And Kalina, you are loved as well.
Much love to you as well, sweet Arda. Thank you so much for spending this winter solstice with us. Thank you, and you are loved, and
Yes.
we love you. And you too, Treb.
Yes, of course. Not only are you loved, but we love you as well. And congratulations for the beginning portion of the fourth density integrated energy in which you can now work with more greatly and easily as well.
Thank you.
Adieu.
Adieu. Welcome back. Hey, when you get grounded, I think we might have an impersonator. I did not type that.
On what? The second one?
Yeah, this is ET Whisper Rob Gauthier. P talking, thank you, blessings. I didn't write that.
Well, it showed up on both channels, so.
Well, there's just been this thing where people have been impersonating others.
Oh, I don't know.
So I don't know what that's about. I'll have to check that.
Yeah, you can't ban it because then if it is our account,
Put user in timeout.
well, I don't want to shut down the stream.
I didn't write that.
Right. It could be William, though, Mom. William can access our account, which would put it in the stream, too.
It doesn't sound like something.
I don't know. Let's not worry about it now. That's a lot to come back to.
Yeah, I know. But we want to make sure we're not hacked, too.
No, we're not hacked. If we were, it wouldn't. No, we're good for now. All right, guys. I hope it went well. Sounds like there are some hardships going on here.
We just had some trolls. No biggie.
Oh, that's no.
I took care of it.
Yeah, that's as always. Yeah, it's kind of routine deal. But all right, guys. I wanted to tell all of you, I'm so thankful you guys spent this time with us. Sorry if the trolls got offensive. Apparently, trolls can do that. But I love you guys very much. I'm glad you guys spent tonight with us. It's actually a lot later than we had anticipated it would be for this time. I've got to neutralize and get a little grounded and use the restroom and all that good stuff. So we're going to call it a night, guys. Thank you, sweetie, for helping out with everything.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you guys for being here with us. We're going to make more announcements as we go with our open forums and whatever else we got going on. But keep your eyes peeled, guys. If you're already subscribed, that's great. If you are, but you're not getting notifications, you got to turn on the bell. And if you're not subscribed, you can. We've got a lot of stuff going out, and a lot of it's going to be spontaneous. We're just going to do it when we can. And if you don't have, if you're not subscribed, you might miss out on it to be here live with us and stuff. But if you don't care about being live, that's all good. And we love you guys. We're going to head out for the night. And holy moly, it's almost 2 a.m. Yeah, we're going to go, guys.
Get up there.
We love you guys so much. Thank you for showing up.
Happy winter solstice, everybody.
Yeah, well, happy solstice in general, right?
Post solstice.
Yeah, happy solstice to everybody, and love you guys. We'll see you guys soon. And like I said, the next thing we do, we'll make sure to announce it when we can too, guys. Love you guys. Join our Discord too if you guys want to hang out with us over there. The link's down in there. We love you guys, and we'll see you on the other side.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Night.